We got another one.
You're good.
I would like to call this workshop meeting for the Grand County Commission on June 16th to order. We have in attendance Commissioner Martinez, Commissioner McGann, Commissioner McCurdy, Commissioner Winfield, and myself, Commissioner McCandless, along with our Administrator Mark Tyner, our Deputy Administrator Quinn Hall. And I think that is all for right now for this meeting. So our first agenda on the workshop was an overview and updates, and that was going to be with our attorney, Stephen Stocks, but he's in court, so we're going to push that to a future meeting. So we'll just cross number 1 off and move to number 2. Number 2 is the policies and procedures of the governing body. And when we met last meeting 2 weeks ago, we were going through this. We got to page 11. I think that our last conversation that I had here was that before we put out any kind of information that we would give the commission the information prior to publishing. So that was our last comment on that top one. So if we move to C, I will just go through these. And number 1, paragraph 1, if you have anything, just stop me. I don't see any comments on the side. Paragraph 2, paragraph 3. This was a comment. General reports should encompass all meetings that commission members attend as representatives of the organization. They should include a description of the meeting's content and are required as a component of the commissioner's responsibilities.
I think that's a little bit overkill. I'll start that one off. It says a requirement.
What about if we recommend it?
Okay, if you recommend it, but I mean, each one of those meetings has minutes too, and or.
Yeah, exactly. This is just an attempt to try and force all commissioners to write a brief about the meetings that they've been in.
Right, go ahead.
Along with a different commissioner.
At the, the beginning of when I started off here, I went through and started telling everything that happened, and I was told that my reports were way too long and not needed, right? So it's silly that someone's like, oh no, we want now all that information, right? I think that it is overburdensome to require us to go ahead and take all of our meeting notes, take all of our notes and put them inside of a report. I don't mind the written report, but I do think that it should be the commissioner's prerogative on how much they include inside of that report right there. Some commissioners go to quite a few more meetings than other commissioners. I know that I started last night at 8 o'clock and I didn't get finished until 12:30 when I went through my commission report. And I don't want to have it to be that there's a requirement for me to do more than that or less than that, right? It's not fair when the workload might not always be equally shared amongst all commissioners.
Mary.
I wonder if we could simplify it and say that commissioners should mention every meeting that they've attended as a representative and either give a brief description or a link to the minutes.
There's a lot of meetings that don't have any minutes.
Or, well, then just say, just briefly, I met with, just make it real simple. I agree with you. I don't want things really long and people won't read them if they're long. That just say, because sometimes I attend meetings that aren't on my to-do list,
Yeah.
That would be nice to
And we
just,
have meetings with people, Miss Lynn, I just did mine too. Took me about 2 hours to do my report today, and I got to the very end and I didn't put any comments in the last 4 meetings that I've had because I just ran out of time before I got here today, and trying to put all that information in there. I think that if we just recommended, like if we just have a recommended, so if we say general reports, they should encompass all the meetings that commission members attend as representatives of the organization, and they can include description of the meetings. Let's actually change that part. So if we take the first sentence and then we say we recommend a description of the meeting's content and other pertinent information.
Keep it
Does that make everybody happy? So it's recommended, so the new commissioners know. I mean, I try to put stuff in there. And then it still has the piece on here that commission members can request that the chair place on the agenda a separate item if there's any reports that need, some more
Yeah,
detailed
I like
discussion.
that a lot.
And we always do that anyways, or, at the end, we've been allowing for people to elaborate on their reports if they'd like to. So hopefully Dana got that. All right, number 4.
I just noticed that we didn't mention districts in there, but then districts are included in 6. So is that clear enough?
Down at districts. I think it's because it's any meeting, it should encompass
Advisory
all
board,
meetings that
commission.
commission members attend.
Well, because we didn't mention district meetings in that paragraph, but then districts are pointed out in number 6. So I was just wondering if we wanted to add, are encouraged to attend any advisory board, commission, or
Well, you're already on
commission
6.
meetings and district meetings, informational purposes shall notify the commission. And you just didn't mention it. I was just curious if it was an oversight or because it was mentioned again in number 6, if that's where districts were mentioned.
No, and if we're,
So I didn't know if we wanted to put districts in there.
just getting back to this, if we're gonna go into this level of detail, I also think any meeting that commission members failed to attend or denied attending as well should be inside of that. Well, no, I mean, if we're gonna go to
Yeah,
that
if we're
level,
gonna nitpick
if we're gonna get down,
commissioners.
yeah, if we're gonna get down into the level of.
I was saying it was
No, I know, I'm not,
Your
no, I'm not making a
verbiage in there, it's
number.
the paragraph.
I'm looking at the whole
that's right there.
paragraph as itself, not talking to you. I'm just saying, like, if we want to get down to the level of detail of like, I want the, to know what you, who you met with and who you talked with, I think that also it should be fair that we talk about, what meetings did you deny that you went to, or what meetings did you not attend that you were scheduled to attend?
I think we should scratch this paragraph and make something very simple there, Mel. and I
Okay,
think
hold on a
Dana-
second, Mike has his hand
Go
up.
ahead,
Oh, I just
I'm
didn't want to
sorry.
open the door for Brian to talk for an hour at any meeting, so I'm all for scratching that.
All right.
Just being
So
nice.
you do, I think that, so it says the general, if we just don't look at the side comment, we have that they shall regularly report to the commission verbally or in writing, in the general report section of the agenda or as necessary. And just leave it at that and don't
Leave it
put
at
any
that.
kind of a requirement as far as, or recommendation?
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Okay,
I like the verbally part you added.
Thank you.
all right, so comment on the side is just crossing it off. Okay, so number 4, I don't see any.
Oh, that's what, I was talking about number 4. I'm sorry, I thought we left number 3. I so apologize. I thought we left, I thought we came to a conclusion there.
Oh, yeah,
In
I'm sorry, I
number
was-
4, we say advisory boards, commission or commission, committee meetings. We didn't put district meetings because we are also assigned. to
Yeah, I think it's because it is on number 6.
So
it's just separating them out.
that's what I put, or is number 6 enough? If it's enough, then let's not worry about it. Otherwise, just put the word district after committee meetings or put, district meetings.
I think 6 covers it.
Okay.
Yeah, so 5 is just about county
I
committees,
understand now.
I was,
which is a different kind, yeah, I think it just separates them all into the different kinds of
I thought we did.
boards. So the special service district board's number 6. Number 7, attendance, there's a comment here this will address yours maybe. Go ahead, Mike.
Actually, it says rearrange to get a reappointment. I don't know the wording on that, but
Which one are you
I
looking
can't.
at?
Oh,
He's on
no,
7.
Number 7.
Okay,
Rearrange a reappointment. Just try to get someone else there. I don't know the wording is correct on that or how that's being said right there.
they
but-
shall arrange a reappointment
To that
to that
assignment.
assignment. So if they cannot have regular
Yeah,
attendance.
that's
Yeah, if you
Just
can't
weird
regularly
English
attend
there,
it,
so.
you would
You should give
reappoint
the board
someone.
up and let someone else.
But if you just can't make it out a single time, then you would ask another commissioner.
Yep.
then you may ask another commissioner to attend in their place. There's a comment here that says, I think it is important to address the situation where a substitute commissioner may be allowed or not allowed to cast a vote in that particular SSD or committee. I don't think that you get to vote. I mean, so I'm only voting members
That's
on
what
my
I'm like.
SSDs.
Special Service District.
Yeah, my other boards that I'm on, I'm
I'm a liaison.
I'm liaison. I vote on the Sand Flat Stewardship.
But I
That's
think,
different as well.
I think what this pertains to, like Mike's on the one, the transportation
Yeah.
SSD, and occasionally
And a
I
voting
fill
member.
in.
Yeah.
Do I have the authority to vote when I fill in, or do I just abstain and I'm sitting there as?
I would think you would
But-
go.
But
Well,
half
I
the
think
time, if
that's
he
what that's
goes, there needs a
addressing.
first
I don't-
quorum too.
I've always thought that.
There's
Their bylaws say.
That's a good question.
I would say it goes, that defaults. to
Commission
their-
member, it's, their bylaws say commission member. They don't say Mike.
Yeah,
So,
Or the liaison.
yeah,
Well, that would lead you to think that you could vote.
you can vote.
So there is a training that I'm going to on June 23rd with LeGrand Bidders on SSD.
Yeah.
That might be a good question for him. Right there is how, on that SSD board, can someone basically fill in for you? Or is that, because that board does have autonomy, right? I think that you want to make sure that you're still respecting that autonomy of that board right there. And having someone fill in for you might kind of break that. I mean, I think of it almost like a corporate veil.
Well, they might not even know what's going on, to vote. I think that's great. That's next Tuesday. I won't be there. So will you make sure to ask that and we can follow, and then we can follow up with this when we do take it, if it's something we need to address.
I don't know if we need to put this, it just came up, I apologize for not thinking it.
It's just a question on the side about it.
It'll be good to know either which way.
Yeah, I think we'll default to that training for SSDs and let us know.
On the SSDs, I found out, and I don't know if it's important to put in here, it's important that we on special service districts, we cannot act as chair or vice chair. That's what I was told by the auditor. I was chair of the special service district for a couple of years before I was told that.
Will you ask that? Is anybody else going to that meeting next
I'm
week?
gonna see where I'm at. I have it on my schedule, but
Yeah,
I'm not.
because that'd be good to ask too, because I'm on some SSDs that we have county council people that are vice chairs.
County
So if we
council or
could
city
do it
council?
then- Or city
City
council.
council can, because it's not a Grand County
Okay.
Special Service District. That's what makes it different. If it's a Grand County Special Service District, then we can't be chair or vice chair. But usually what ends up is like on our count, and our auditor told us it was fine, then it usually ends up being the city commissioner that's the chair.
Yeah.
Because they're the most consistent, and they last longer.
And
So, and I don't know if it's important to say, information, I don't know if we
It's
want to put
important
it in
to
there,
know.
because I accidentally did it,
I don't know if it goes in our bylaws, but it would be good because it should really be in their bylaws. It should really be in the SSD's bylaws, but I don't know that it always is.
I checked to see if it is in ours, I don't remember. Because I think we just redid ours. But I just remembered that I had served as chair for 3 years, and then the auditor said, oh, this is not a good idea.
Okay, we're
I went,
gonna,
oh, good, I was so glad to get rid of that.
we're gonna look at our SSD's bylaws and see. I don't know that we'll add it in this, but it's good to know. Okay. Now D, duties of the chair.
That all looks good. It's just cleaning it up.
Besides-
Yeah, it looks good to me, I don't have any
tell the
notes.
whole will be.
I wonder if we could combine 8 and 9. It seems redundant.
Roll call at the chair's discretion. The chair may require a roll call vote for matters involving expenditure of funds. Motions may be determined by voice vote, show of hands, or at the request of any commissioner by roll call.
I was in an OPMA training at CIB last week where roll call vote on expenditures is mandatory per OPA. Just bringing that back.
We used to always do it before bills.
This says may, so I don't know if Stephen would want to weigh in on that. That's a question for him, but in our OPMA training for CIB, state law is mandatory of a roll call vote. And it was questioned by several other commissioners, not just myself in that training. Because they weren't doing it either.
When we were for years, that was, we
And
would
I-
always do roll call vote on when we voted on the bills.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember
I don't have any heartburn.
So then we take the bills off of the consent agenda then? We'd have to take the bills
We
off.
could
the
take,
consent
I mean, we might want to if, because take bills off consent agenda and then have roll call vote.
And then anytime we purchase or buy anything.
Anything has a fiscal impact would be a roll call
Okay.
That was what my training said, and multiple in the room commissioners said,
mean
we're
like
not doing that, and I said,
In
we're not.
budget or with in budget bill or out of budget or,
I don't
would that
think
mean
it's
that every
specified.
time, like, we couldn't put consent?
We're gonna ask
We're
Stephen.
gonna have to find that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna ask him.
That could get real.
I'll send him an email or somebody will.
Said we'd be doing roll call
Okay,
all the time.
so I don't think that we should combine 8 and 9, but we should clarify roll call votes. And so 10, 11, 12, all right.
On number 12, I just had a question. Because I looked in, I don't think in Robert's rules that chairs are prohibited from making motions or seconding it. Am I correct?
You're correct, right?
So I'm wondering why we have that in our bylaws. I'm just wondering why, because usually you don't need to, but I mean, if you want to have the discussion sometimes, I don't know. I just always wondered why we had that.
Did it this year. Kevin Walker did it last year. I just went based off of that, so.
It's always been the rule in ours, but I've always had questioned why. Why are we making ours stricter than Robert's rules?
I don't know.
I would take it.
I mean, I just,
It's easier to run
Inherited
the
these
meeting,
rules.
but like one meeting, we only had a quorum.
Around it.
We only had a quorum. I can't remember how it worked, and it was really awkward that the chair couldn't make a motion or second. We only had 4 people. And it made the meeting very awkward, so I just always wondered why we did it.
I'll add that to my email to Stephen.
Okay.
See if there's state statute that,
Yeah, looking in Robert's rules right here, it's it's more of dealing with large bodies or small bodies. So in a large body, it's not recommended that the chair make motions, but in a small body, they use the word should, right? So it should not.
Because that's the
So
only
it's not,
time.
it's not must not or will not, it's a should not.
what about if we just change it to should?
Okay.
Okay? So the chair should not, and that way if the chair wants to,
No,
then
if it's
Chair wants
it's
to
a
break it,
weird
they can break
meeting that it's down to just 4 people.
I-
It can get kind of awkward sometimes. I can't remember why it did that one time.
I'm gonna still ask
The
Stephen
committee
if
was
there's a
3
state
of us.
statute.
It's like, well, which one of the 2 of us
Yes,
are
it was
going to,
just-
yeah, I agree, it definitely is something that could change.
Okay, moving on. 13. So this is something that I added here, and it's a commission priority statement. So working with the vice chair and the chair shall produce and maintain a rolling commission priority statement. And so I'm gonna roll this out after we approve I have mine ready, and I'll roll it out after we approve these policies and procedures. But the priority statement is a plain language articulation of the majority's governing philosophy and the commission's current priorities. And updated quarterly, I don't know if that's
I
gonna happen.
think that's too
Um,
much, don't you?
Yeah, the
Or
priority
maybe-
statement is a working governance document, not an ordinance or resolution, does not require a vote of the membership to adopt or update. And then it will be publicly accessible on county websites. It's connected to the long-range plan, so I based it on the general plan that we have currently in place. It's limited to no more than 10 active priorities at a time. And it's, communicated to all of our boards and staff.
Commissions and committees.
And so it shall serve as a primary reference for the administrator in aligning staff resources and departmental work with plans for the commission direction. I'm gonna take out the quarterly.
Yeah, that would be every sixth meeting,
yeah.
after every sixth meeting.
I think it's just something to base your, if it doesn't fit in the plan, maybe you don't do it, but it's to create a baseline so that we have future, so that maybe we can have some continuity through the future. So if I have 10 priorities and then the next chair can go through those priorities and either move them around, maybe take out some, add some, but to continue some continuity of the plan for the county, is my thoughts on that.
And was that the intent behind the words maintain a rolling?
Maintain a rolling,
Okay,
yep.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
that's what you were thinking of with that, so that we try to continue to work.
Yep. Okay, so the commission administrator, so this would be Mark's job. So the comment is that, let's see, the highlighted says the allocation of staff time, budget, and organizational resources constitutes a policy function. The administrator shall align resource allocation with the commission's adopted objectives and the chair's current commission priority statement. So this goes back to number 13. And shall not direct staff resources toward activities that contradict the commission's adopted direction. The administrator shall coordinate commissioner engagement with staff to protect staff, maintain accountability, and ensure alignment with adopted policy. And the comment says, we're going to have to work on this. I think it's a positive thing to have an annual direction. However, the reality is that we will occasionally have to deviate from these priorities to handle important situations as they arise. I would modify the verbiage to acknowledge this. I mean, I agree, you're not gonna, every single thing that comes before the commission isn't gonna fit in those 10, because you're gonna have stuff that arises, but I think that when you're bringing on like a new, so let's see, I don't know how we would change the wording to acknowledge this. Anybody have any comments?
Just something along the lines of, just leave it open for emergency or for imminent policy issues that arise. I mean, something along those lines.
Unexpected needs.
So at the very end, if we put leaving room for
Unexpected needs.
unexpected needs, okay.
Chair,
Job.
Yes,
the administrator shall endeavor to align resource allocation. Would that fix everything?
the administrator
Shall endeavor to
Endeavor.
align resource allocation. Just like, or attempt or put forth an effort.
endeavor. Should we still put leaving room for it? Or you think
Well, because then
we
it
just say
softens the
endeavor?
shall
Okay.
language. That's the only thing I would look for, is for it to soften that shall a
Okay.
little bit to address Commissioner Martinez's concerns.
We're good. If we just put endeavor, shall endeavor. So that's the second sentence in that paragraph.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. The other thing is we could also just even add in a statement that says, unless, without consulting with the chair or in consultation with the chair, right there could also provide that flexibility.
Where do you want to put? I'm just reading it again. I don't know where to put that in there if you.
Okay, so let's-
Sentence you had covered it, Melody.
Oh, so leaving room for, so at the end, you still want that to go in there?
That's fine,
I
yeah.
think that covers it,
Yeah, that's fine.
leaving room for, I
Okay.
forget the verbiage you had. Do you
Leaving
have-
room for emergency,
Unexpected need.
unexpected,
That's what-
Unexpected needs.
unexpected circumstances. Okay, so prepares the agenda, then the commission meetings, attending meetings, subcommittees, 6 is good, 7 is good, 8, 9. Okay, so this is the new one added as well, and this is F, is the election cycle transition and training. So we're talking about when new commissioners come on. So the commission administration shall provide each newly elected commissioner no later than the first week of December following the general election an orientation packet that includes the current commission priority statement, status of active commission objectives, the policies and procedures of the governing body. Am I in the wrong spot?
Well, I think that yours doesn't have the update with mine, so a county email address for official use. I think it's
Oh,
in the
yeah,
file
we
right
talked
there.
about that the other day.
Yep, you need to.
Mike has that.
Yeah, so. it's
Yeah, well, I'm using the one from last week,
mine. Yeah, go to the.
because I have my notes on it. Well, then I got.
Yeah, me too. I had my notes on it. I was doing the same thing.
Okay, so page
No one
15.
of us.
Yeah, page 15.
Okay, we're jumping over to split this out.
I do it
Just keep
too.
them both.
Put my notes on the paper.
Okay, so that says the county email address for official use, and I think, did you looked into that we could do that? We have enough space to add
We can make it,
elects.
we can make it happen, I think.
An orientation packet, the current commission priority statement, status of active commission objectives, the policy and procedures of the governing body, with particular attention to section B10, council member involvement in operational issues, and the county's adopted long-range plan, and other current planning documents as determined by the administrator in consultation with the chair. So the comment is, I'm not sure what this means. I would assume that long-range planning should be done via a work retreat at the beginning of each year. There should be.
I don't see a
I
problem.
think that it needs to start happening, so, I mean, I think that there is some we don't currently have an adopted long-range plan, but it's definitely something that we could work toward. Do we wanna take that out because we don't currently have it?
The general plan is our long-range plan.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, they should be getting, that was one of the first things I asked for when I was a commissioner, was for Alicia to print that for me, so.
Stephen, maybe
Steven,
someone.
yeah, we have questions.
Oh, wonderful.
I was like, going backwards now.
Do you wanna go backwards, or go to the end and then come back to
Well, at
those?
least give him a heads up so we can think about it.
I think I've texted him a couple
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, I'd
So
say
we can
keep
think about it for
going.
a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on this same section. This is still the newbies, the new commissioners. The administrator shall conduct a structured briefing session for incoming commissioners together with the county attorney, covering the county's current governance direction and the role of each office and policy execution. Comment is replaced with orientation. That's fine with me. It seems to be a little bit easier, actually. Orientation. And number 2, ongoing governance training. Commissioners and the commission administrator shall participate in governance training no less than once per year, addressing role boundaries, the policy, administration distinction, board oversight, and open meetings compliance. Training shall be provided by or in coordination with the Utah Association of Counties and the International City of County Management Association, or other qualified provider, and shall be incorporated into the annual meeting schedule approved each December. Newly elected commissioners shall complete initial governance training within 90 days of taking office. I think that currently happens, it just wasn't stated. So now it's in our policies and procedures. Good, okay.
And it is nice getting that email earlier, because I think I remember that those trainings started prior to becoming a commissioner. So I know that I spent the first month of being a commissioner trying to move all of my contacts and my emails from my personal email over to my commission email. So that would definitely help out with how that timing works.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So subcommittees. I feel like we should just read these because there has been some like controversy over subcommittees. So establishment of a subcommittee, the commission may choose to appoint a subcommittee of its members and other stakeholders and subject matter experts for the purpose of researching, reviewing, and recommending to the governing body action on particular issues, problems, and areas of interest. Subcommittees are not executive bodies, and the subcommittee chair has no executive authority. The governing body may, however, authorize the subcommittee to undertake specific tasks. Commission members are not obligated to vote according to subcommittee recommendations. So they shall not consist of more than 3 commission members. And what is it, subcommittee meeting with best practices? So we would create this, do we need a subcommittee meeting best practices? We're gonna cross this off. Is there anything you guys can think of while you're in your subcommittees?
No, I think actually having subcommittee best practices would be beneficial. Just because there is no, I mean, we say it's subcommittee chair, and I don't know if we have a chair of any of the subcommittees that we're on, right? It's kind of just more of an informational gathering, like type of process. So I don't know if,
Electing a body and.
yeah, but we don't have any rubrics for what those best practices are. So I do think that having a best practices that all subcommittees follow would be helpful, at least to me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the things that might be a good idea to recommend in best practices is defining the scope. So once you establish a subcommittee, having it stay within that scope and definition, and then having some rules about membership, in the event that a member isn't able to attend, they can select another person to go in their stead. Just some of the things that, if we're looking at setting those best practices, I think scope is the biggest one, and then how they provide that information to the full commission. You might want to solidify how that recommendation comes across, in what way, how updates are provided. I think that information could be good. If you put some language that would say, hey, look, every quarter, every 6 months, however long, set a guideline on when the subcommittee would come back to the full body and provide additional information. Items like that might be helpful, because sometimes we have subcommittees and they exist, but individuals that are not a part of that subcommittee may or may not know where the status is, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to put some aspirational language as to how often they report. So those would be my things that maybe I'd suggest.
So we need to work on this piece. We need to work on this piece a little bit more.
And I think quarterly comes around really fast.
Well, I feel
I
like
think by, twice a year would be enough.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that happens in subcommittees. They sometimes move really fast. We've been adding we haven't had any meetings for our fixed guideway tax or public safety building for a while because we're waiting on the RFP. But when we were having them, we had them listed with we were having them weekly, and we had updates on our right there with the same spot, not only on our, and then like for my report, I would just say see attachment, because there was always an attachment under the general commission reports and future considerations that had that subcommittee. So maybe we need in that to have a subcommittee update that's added on those.
Maybe you could say after so many meetings. Because like you said, like sometimes you'll have meeting, and then you'll go quite a long time. So instead of saying quarterly or bi-yearly, just say after 3 meetings report, or after 4 meetings report to the committee what's going on.
And could it possibly be that that's defined in the scope? So we say that, at the formation of the subcommittee, the subcommittee will decide, like, does this subcommittee need a chair, right? Does this subcommittee going to meet, just setting the basic parameters? When is that reporting? And then they could bring that back, and at least that's just part of that best practices. It's a little sheet even that we just fill out and say, okay, check box 1, 2, and 3, and then the subcommittee can move. And some subcommittees might want to report back, every commission, because it might be a hot topic that needs to happen. Or it might be something that, hey, this is just something that we're looking at for long-range planning, and it doesn't need to be reported but once a year.
Or when something major happens.
Yeah, for
Exactly.
example, I'm on the flooding subcommittee. We've met 3 times since I've been a commissioner. We need to meet soon, but it's not something we meet all the time. But for example, we're working on the Arches Shuttles subcommittee right now, and we're meeting 2 to 3 times a week. And so things are moving faster, that we should probably be putting a report in as a separate report versus just in our.
If you establish a floor, if you say, hey, we'll give a report twice a year, you guys can always report more than that. But sometimes the public or even the commission kind of forgets about a subcommittee existing if they're dormant and they don't do a lot of things. So having updates, I think twice a year would be helpful. And if there's not that many updates, the question is raised of whether we need a subcommittee or not. So just additional food for
So
thought.
maybe define the scope, definition, and how often, and reporting would be
Yep.
one section, and then, okay. we're gonna work on this piece,
It looks
bring it
like-
back. We'll have it ready hopefully for the vote, but, moving on to commission meetings. I'll just go through these. Doesn't look like there's any comments on 1, 2, 3.
I have two.
Okay, so this is, let's just go ahead and look at,
Oh, where are we at?
we are on number 3. I didn't know if that was talking about,
Three.
that's just when they start. They start at 4 o'clock. And they'll be noticed. Special meetings, emergency meetings, workshops, joint workshops, agenda. Now moving on to page 18.
Now, when we talk about joint meetings compared to.
I don't think we've discussed joint meetings yet.
Joint work.
Oh, joint workshops. Did you have a comment on that one, Mary?
In the past, we've had joint meetings. We've had joint meetings with Castle Valley, City of Moab, Grand County, where they were meetings, not workshops, and we usually had an agenda and an action item when they were joint meetings.
And this commission's had one this year.
But they did have an action item.
But we didn't have any action items, so technically,
That was more of a workshop. Well, we haven't for years, but I don't think since COVID, but prior to COVID, that we had a few workshops that we voted on resolutions really, where we wanted to have a real strong resolution that had all three bodies saying, yes, this is what we want.
I think you could inject a paragraph or a number in commission meetings, just that talks about how joint meetings happen. I think it's the chair working with the mayor or whoever the chair of the other body is. I think there could be.
It's a mayor, so say mayor of.
And I will have a request for the commission and the city to do a joint meeting on domestic violence in October.
You might want to have.
it's not a workshop or a meeting.
We were going to, the group that we're working with, the ICCR, we were gonna ask for a joint resolution, because it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October, and so. just-
And those joint resolutions are powerful.
Yeah.
You know, when you say every elected body in this county believes that this is a priority. So I underline that there's a difference between a joint workshop and a joint meeting.
Okay, we will add in a joint meetings. Please. Thank you. Okay. So workshops. So agenda, we're on page 18 now.
18.
Okay, so suggested order, or items in order will be determined by the chair. I know these have been moved around a lot in the last year and a half, so. The key to this is the citizens to be heard. We want to just have one citizens to be heard, and it will not be before 5 o'clock. So put it on the agenda, kind of midway, and we're only going to do one.
Would it be possible to maybe change the word citizens to be heard, maybe community members to be heard, or something different than citizens?
I agree,
I don't know what word you pick, but
What's wrong with citizens?
because we have people that aren't citizens that talk all the time.
They are.
well,
We have-
I don't know that the commission cares if somebody wasn't a US citizen and a lawful
Oh,
permanent
I see
resident.
what you mean. It does restrict. Okay, I'm open to
Yeah,
that.
and we have people from Colorado that talk, and we have people that live in California that talk. I mean, we don't just only have like Grand County
Citizens,
citizens.
yeah, so,
It implies.
Public,
Or public,
Public.
heard,
public comment.
Public
public
comment.
comment,
yeah.
public comment. Okay,
Now, I just want to give some background as to why we chose 4 and 6. It was after meeting with various, we met with and talked to various businesses and large employers.
Come on.
And their comment was that in a community where we have a high service industry, a lot of times we had it at 4 because it helped with the shift changes. That's why we had it at 4, because a lot of people, if they may go to work at 5. Anyway, it was not like a decision made in a vacuum, like, oh, let's do it this way.
Yeah.
There was a lot of communication with Chamber of Commerce, Chamber people, and we came up, well, if we truly want to give our public, if we want to say public now, and we want to hear from them, we want to, come across as being open to hearing from them, let's make it as easy for them as possible. And I've never, when I was chair, I never found it to be that burdensome to just stop at 6 o'clock or close to and say, most of the time you don't, but sometimes you'd have people that couldn't make it till 6. So I'm not falling on any sword for this. I just wanted to let you know that it wasn't made in a vacuum and there was a lot of thought put into it.
Thank you. Mike?
Also with, if we're looking at changing it, can we release it on public comment period? A lot of people have approached me and said, why can't you guys answer questions while they're asking them? And a lot of people, and just, I know, but we really want to say that it's time for the public to add public comment. It's not a back and forth between commissioners and the public. Can we put that out when we put this out?
I think there's a spot in here to
Okay.
talk about that. If it's not in this, it's in the somewhere. And it talks about when
Somewhere.
it's not up. We'll see when we get there.
I will say that I think one is more than enough to have in the meeting. I do think it needs to be a little bit later so that other people can make it here that aren't able to get off earlier, as Mary said. But I'll also state that there are many counties in the state of Utah that do not allow public comment at all. So I think that we've been going above and beyond and just kind of narrowing this down to make our meetings a little bit shorter anywhere that we can.
Well,
Certainly a benefit.
my biggest concern is that if we continue with the 4 and the 6, and if people come down here at 6 and we're adjourned.
Well, I loved what you put in the packet, and that made it so clear in the agenda that if
Yeah.
the commission, that's how it has to be, is in the agenda today.
But then they have to make sure that they're here by 4, whereas if we move it a little bit, the other thing is that people can zoom in, so that makes it nice. If they, they can't be here at 5 because they just got off work, but they can zoom in. So if we say not before 5, the other thing is we've had people angry because we have things that go longer, when like a workshop or some of our other closed sessions and board of canvassers and whatever it is that we have those meetings earlier, and they go past 4, and then we have all those people outside that are irritated. They also have the option, and of course we love to hear from our public, but they can email us. We get our email. They can email us at any point in time, so they can email us. They can hop online. And I think if we just have one, that way that people have an expectation, and maybe we do have a specific time, and we say 5 o'clock or 5:15.
Or close.
As close to as we can, but that way they're not, if we just say not before 5, then it could be at 8. I think we need to have a specific time.
Hard, isn't it? That's the nice thing of having it at the beginning of the meeting, because
Yeah.
usually it's right on time. Not always, but most of the time.
I'd suggest a set time. It makes it easy. We never have anybody asking when it's gonna be at. I think 5:30. I think with technology, as easy as it is to participate in meetings, I think that if somebody wanted to leave work, if it was that important, ask their employer for an exception at one time.
And I want it relatively early in the meeting, because a lot of times they're commenting on what we're going to be
Yeah,
talking
that's the
about,
thing.
and so
They
I don't want to push it too late. So 4:45, 5 o'clock. What are you guys thinking? Let's pick just one time.
Do we wanna,
5 o'clock.
I'm gonna throw a whole other idea in here just
Okay.
to make the meeting.
We only have
We're
15
also
minutes
running
left.
out of time.
Yeah.
here. We're at
I'm wondering,
15 minutes, so.
If we want to say, of course, it won't be an exact time, but like you said, if we can educate the public that some counties don't even allow this, but have it right before action items. Because people usually are commenting on our action items.
Yeah, but they kind of
I'd
want a
rather
time
have
as
set
well.
time.
They kind of want a time as well.
I
So we're
see.
gonna say 5 o'clock. I'm just gonna put 5 o'clock in here. We have to discuss it again as we vote on these, then we will, but.
So that maybe when we're doing the agenda, we'll want to make any items we think public is going to have.
After that 5 o'clock time.
Have towards the end of the,
And we kind of do that anyways. We try to adjust our agenda that way.
or what we've done, yeah,
Okay.
it's hard to.
All right, so that
Somebody has to
is,
look at things.
so number 4, it looks like a brand new item here, and it says agenda and agenda summary deadline. Actually, it's not new, we've had this for a while, but request for inclusion on an agenda and support documentation must be received by 5 o'clock to Tuesday before. That's actually been in place. It might not have been in our policies and procedures, but legal review, at least 2 weeks for Stephen, for the county attorney. So, continuing on,
One quick note for
Go ahead.
Dana, under the commission meeting, we do need to keep the word action item somewhere in there. If we delete the word action item, we can't have action items. So it was connected to public hearing dash possible action items. So we just need somewhere in the set action item. That's all.
Okay.
Quinn just want me to say that out loud. Dana will catch that and,
action items, okay.
yep.
Which is always on there, but it needs to be in our policy and procedures. Okay, so moving on to page, no comments on 19. On 20, page 20. There's a comment about the consent agenda. Any item may be moved to the regular agenda from the consent agenda for additional commission consideration, and someone said that's something like by any commissioner without a motion.
Where are we at? Okay, I got it.
J, consent agenda on page 20. I just think any item may be
It's kind of
moved.
implied already, but I'm open to if somebody thinks that we need to put that in there.
It doesn't have to have a motion, somebody can just request for it to be
Yeah,
removed.
We just request to pull it
Yeah.
off.
There's no motion, you don't have to say, oh no, you can't do it, because that wouldn't be okay.
So a commissioner may request.
Yeah, any item may be moved to the regular agenda from the consent agenda for additional commission consideration during the meeting.
And I like how you currently been taking them and just moving them down the line so we can get through the meeting and then just tackling at them.
Yeah.
The sentence
Okay.
above kind of handles that, right there, it says, on unanimous consensus of members present, right? So without unanimous consensus, it can't be on the meeting, so.
Yeah.
I feel like that comment's.
So if one person wants to pull it off, then it gets
Yep,
pulled.
exactly.
L1, we should change council to
L1,
L1.
ooh, yeah.
What page are you on?
Page 20, that we missed a council, they gotta go to commission.
Oh, we did it,
Look how many people have read that.
Missed it. Wait,
because you
what?
read what you think it says.
Which page did you say?
Oh, it's just
L.
on 20, page 20, it was L, number 1, it needed a commission change. All right, we're really bad at number 5 on page 21. When a call for the vote is commenced, no member shall leave until the vote is called. So that happens sometimes.
It took me a few years, but Stephen.
Yeah. But anyways, we don't need to discuss that, just bring it out.
Moving on.
I think we're 21, everything on page 21 looks good. Okay, moving to page 22.
Postpone and table. Postpone is the other meeting, table is later that week.
And on item L7, I don't know if there's any concern as to whether individuals want to consider that language.
Where page are you on?
21, item 7.
Back to 21. Back to 21, number 7, abstentions.
I don't know, I it's just, that there have been questions regarding kind of the basis of doing abstentions. So there's just that language that explains it.
Well, that's been probably, I brought that up. I think that people should vote unless they have a real reason not to. Like, for example, the other day I had abstained because it was a customer of mine, so I had to abstain. But I feel like there's been a lot of abstentions that people just choose to not vote. And I think we're elected to be voters. That's why the public elects us, is to be decision makers, and people just abstain. But I don't know that I don't feel strong enough to put in our,
Yeah, I think, a lot of times people abstain because they could argue either side of the issue. I mean, it's,
Well, I think some of the
abstain every time
problem I
we
have
speak
with
to the
it is
sheriff's
they argue their side of the position and then they abstain voting.
Sure. And
so if someone's gonna
if they're
abstain,
gonna
can
argue,
you
they
say
should
that they need to abstain at the beginning of the conversation and not comment? Is that allowed?
If you noted that abstentions should be raised at the beginning of the topic or the discussion item or the action item.
oh, that's a good idea.
And then you could put a different category as a non-vote. In this one, they differentiate, or they say an abstention is considered non-vote, because really if you're abstaining,
It's a non-vote.
well, yeah, but if you're just kind of severing those two, non-vote versus an abstention,
So they're different.
yeah,
So non-vote, yeah, I'm just not voting on this.
correct. As opposed to I'm abstaining from the debate and the discussion on this item because I have a conflict of interest.
And so a non-vote is just you just don't want to vote.
Correct.
And so you get to be involved in the conversation, and then you just don't vote.
We better have somebody put some verbiage together.
Okay, I'll note.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
like when I abstained from the sheriff's department stuff because of my conflict,
Correct, sure.
don't partake in the discussion too, is what we're saying.
Well, correct, that's a abstention. You
Okay.
cannot engage on that because it's restricted.
Just sit here, no problem.
But people are always commenting and then they abstain.
Yeah, I understand.
So then they
They
should,
should-
and when I
they say
call
no
and
vote.
say yay, nay, and then somebody
No
would
vote.
say, I'm not voting,
Correct.
instead of abstaining.
That makes
The
sense.
abstaining has to be called before the conversation, before the, like the
Because then it
beginning.
distinguishes the two.
All right, so you're gonna work on this.
Okay.
then?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, the finishing,
I didn't have any comments.
on the,
Oh, yes, I did.
did you have some more comments, Mary, somewhere?
I think next time I gotta see what it was page 24.
Okay, 24. And what was your comment?
I guess I just circled number 4 and 5, thinking those are really important.
Those are, and that's what we discussed earlier, Mike, when you were talking about that no member shall debate with the public or employees during the meetings or workshops, and that's why we don't answer them
Yeah.
back, because it could turn into a debate,
But I don't
right?
think the
If they're
public
here
knows
and
that.
they're frustrated.
I don't think every member of the public knows that because I've had a direct question with that.
Well, I mean, there's been part of me that wants to read the decorum and debate for every citizen's to be heard.
Okay.
It's not a bad idea.
You know, just to read that every time we go into it and then they are aware of it.
I used to read something and I can't remember, I had something written out about behavior for citizens to be heard when I was.
Go ahead, Stephen.
On Q, decorum and debate, item number 6, limitation of debate. This would be a section where you guys could put in limitations on how many times one speaks, how the city does. I think they only do two times.
They do it
speak.
2 times and then you ask the question, does someone have a comment that hasn't already been presented? You know, like a new idea come up, or did you forget to say something? But don't repeat what you just said.
So that
The
might,
city has a real, it's written down very well in the city.
sure.
You
And
should look at that.
I think the flow with this, the commission has, debate is more kind of open, whereas you could put limitations that say everybody gets the opportunity to speak twice for 3 minutes. If you guys did that, that's 42 minutes on that's the max on a particular topic. There are some times where it seems like people speak 5 or 6 times. On regular items, I think that's not a huge deal, but on more contentious items, it can seem to drag on. So just a thought there, that's something that has been raised in the past about kind of limiting time. And that's how they do it up at the state, that's how they do it with Congress, yielding time and all those rules.
And do you have something new to add?
Correct. So just, I don't know if that's of interest I'm just
After
noting it.
everybody's had two opportunities.
And then let's also add in the fact that a lot of times we will debate before there's a motion.
Sure.
So there'll be a presentation, and then we'll have a debate, and then we have a motion.
And then we debate again.
And then we have two more debates, so not only do you have 42 minutes, you have another 20 minutes added in on top of that. So, I mean, I think that if we're gonna have that, maybe even including, that the chair will call for a motion after the presentation of an item, so that we don't have debate happening prior to a motion.
After questions have been asked.
Yeah,
I think that's important, because sometimes I don't want to make a motion until I have some questions answered.
that's true.
You don't.
Well, let me make a note about motions, and then if we can put them in there somewhere. Do we want to change that limit of debate? So right now it says, in general, no member of the commission shall be allowed to speak more than once upon any one subject until all members have had the opportunity to speak. And I've tried to hold people to that. Not everybody always wants to speak, and then commission members shall generally be limited to 2 statements on any issue under consideration unless substitute motions are made. I would love to keep it to 2. I mean,
I think
so,
I like how the city does. After everybody's had an opportunity to speak twice, you say, does anyone have something to bring up or to mention that hasn't already been stated? Because sometimes you go, when somebody says something and it was first, you go, oh yeah, I remember.
well, and then this is addition. It says the commission may motion and vote to extend or limit debate or discussion on a topic as necessary. I feel like that's the chair's discretion. Should we just leave that?
Chair's discretion.
Instead of saying, oh, and I want to make a motion to argue this some more, and just let it be up to the chair's commission or discretion to allow more, but we should really try to focus on just speaking twice. Unless we have a new motion, and then we'd have different ideas to bring up if there's a substitute motion. So,
That is written, and I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I'm just noting that's written to override the chair. That's what the intent is.
right there, and then make a motion to extend to
Yeah.
override the chair.
Correct. So it's, if the chair is like, that's enough on this topic, then it's the body saying, hang on, chair, we want to talk about this more.
I think we should just cross out the red.
Should we take a 3-minute break before we start?
Yeah, we can let's finish, okay, we're all the way down by this, all right. So we're gonna have to pick up on page 24, participation. I don't even know we have that, we only have, I don't see any more comments, does anybody have any more?
I'm looking at mine, and I think that was my last comment, was the ones that
I'm fine with it.
that's all that's all I
Okay.
comments.
I didn't
I
have
think-
any more.
Yeah, I think a lot of
sense. Get on
Yeah.
the next agenda.
Okay, we are going to take a 2-minute break or so, we can be a minute late.
Time's running.
They're on.
Okay, I'd like to call to order this Grand County Commission meeting on June 16th at 4:03. We have in attendance Commissioner Martinez, Commissioner McGann, Commissioner McCurdy, Commissioner Whitfield, and myself, Commissioner McCandless, as well as our county attorney, Stephen Stocks, our Commission Administrator, Mark Tyner, Associate Commission Administrator, Quinn Hall. And I think our Clerk Auditor, Gabriel Wojtek, is online. And we will go ahead and have the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll stand with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and before we get started with citizens to be heard, Commissioner Winfield wanted to say something.
Yeah, I'd like to just do a real quick tribute for Andy Lewis that was, we lost him in an accident recently, and I just had a few things that I wanted to comment about Andy. And that is, Moab lost a remarkable and adventurous spirit with the passing of Andy Lewis. Andy lived life with amazing passion, courage, and creativity, inspiring many of us through his accomplishments. His love of the outdoors and his willingness to push boundaries embodied Andy's adventure. And remembered always by family, friends, and the Moab community. Rest in peace, Andy.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, he was close to a lot of us in a lot of different ways. I got to know Andy, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and although our paths didn't always cross, he had an amazing talent. One of the regrets I have is that I didn't get to see him in the sky in Castle Valley when he was going across that slack line up there. I would love nothing better than to see somebody doing that. But Andy, he will be missed by many of us. So thank you.
Great. All right. Would anyone in the audience like to come up and speak? Corey, say your name.
Corey Foy. How are you guys today?
Good.
I guess this is where I'm supposed to sit.
Yeah, you can sit there or you can stand, whichever you're more comfortable. The microphone, I think, works a little bit better on the podium.
I think
For the audience.
my voice is probably loud enough anyways, right? Can y'all hear me? Well, I'm here today to talk about irrigation water. As most of you know, I'm an irrigation contractor, landscape contractor. We mow 80 accounts a week. We maintain 300 irrigations, me and my wife alone. In this town, unfortunately, this year has been stressful because we've had a lot of, I would say, elderly customers that have called and worried about watering their grass or taking care of their trees. Crying because they're reading a lot of the articles and they think they've got to cut all their water back, and they're calling me at night, texting me, emailing me. Believe it or not, how many 80-year-olds can actually email and text with their phones is pretty crazy, and how late at night they're awake. So my concern is, and like I've told them, and I've talked to the county water, and like I said, I was born and raised here. My dad was born and raised here. My grandparents were some of the first settlers, or great grandparents. Our water, like I tell them, there's a difference between surface water and groundwater in Moab for sure. Surface water, yes, are we struggling this year? Groundwater, we've got a lot of groundwater, and I'm not going to say plenty because we've got to be conservative. And as a landscaper, we are all of our accounts, 100% of them are mulched, which helps. Which people don't realize. A lot of that is mostly water and nitrogen that goes back into the soil. Some people are against lawns. There's some people that are higher up in Moab say, yeah, we're worried because we water late at night or early in the morning so we don't have to hear people complain. And I said, well, that's the way it should be watered anyways. A lot of them, the state's got a lot of stuff wrong, and I hate to call them out, but they preach about watering deep and watering less often. Well, the problem with that is Moab, for instance, where I live is all sand. If I water 3 times a week, it's a waste. It really is. If I try to water deep, the grass goes dormant. It may not be dead, but it goes dormant. So if you water frequently less, the roots on Kentucky bluegrass, they go 3 to 6 inches at the most. And it's about surface temperature. Now, for instance, over by the high school, they can get it, all them homes there can water 3 days a week. We put irrigation systems in several of them over there. They've got a good clay soil mixture. But there's also another problem. People read that and they hear that and they water. How many hills are in Moab? So you water and you're on a hillside, it does no good to water for an hour twice a week because 90% of that water is running off of that, running down the sidewalk or the gutter. So it doesn't all, one thing does not fit all, or one size does not fit all on this. So what I like to we conserve water. I mean, all my clients know that I will adjust their water seasonally. Some of them don't have us do it, but the majority of them have us do it. We adjust to the seasons. We watch them. We're there every week. And like I tell them, I said, when it's 105 degrees, I'm got to have water. Fortunately, we're not a high desert. We're not a desert like St. George or Las Vegas or even Phoenix. People will get all upset about lawns and even trees or plants in Moab when, the 3 main months, June, July, and August, yes, we absolutely use a lot of water. But the other 3 months, we're watering 2 to 3 days a week. And then there's 6 months that we should be preserving or keeping water, storing water. And I think that's the biggest problem we have in Moab. My dad worked on Kings Lake when they built it. They knew it wasn't big enough then to supply this valley with water. We don't have a water problem, we have a storage problem. We need to store water, and Kings Lake either needs to be 3 times the size, or we should look at actually damming at Mill Creek like they originally thought. We could actually fix most of the flooding in Moab if we could control that canyon that comes in here. If we could control that water, we could store it, and when we have years like this where we don't have as much runoff, we have storage of water. As we know, Kings Lake's, I think, 30 or 40% right now, and we don't have that many clients. I mean, we probably have, out of our 80, there's probably 10 or 15 that are on Kings Lake water, and that's a problem. And I'm not against watering with city or county water, but the fact of the matter is we should be looking at infrastructure for watering landscape. Why are we not looking at making Kings Lake bigger or damming and creating a secondary system for that, instead of using treated water in a plant that's treated that doesn't really need it? And another thing is the lawns that are watered with Kings Lake or wells do much better than they do with the lawns that are watered with city water or county water. They just do. A lot of lawns that are watered with well water, they may need to be fertilized once a year, where some need to be 4 times a year. And a lot of it's soil or water, but city water's treated. That's a fact. There's a lot of nutrients in rainwater. I mean, lawns, you guys all know, lawns can be struggling and it rains and lawns just boom, they're green. And it usually makes us go, oh no, this is gonna be a hard week when it's rained a lot. So.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you for. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I think that's great information. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have anyone else in the audience that would like to come speak? Kevin?
Kevin Clyde. I live out on Easy Street. I serve on the Grand County Water Conservancy District Board. Thank you, Corey, for your words. I want to thank you as our commission. I know that this is a very difficult job that you have. I hear opinions from all sides coming at you. And you are our elected representatives, and I believe that you all do your very best to represent us, to think through these issues, and to make our county work. The county is a very complex place. If you just think about water, I can think of 10 or 15 projects that you have to learn about and approve or disapprove in order to make that work. There are just so many things that you have to juggle to do that. I recognize that you all have jobs or you have personal lives, and this commission is not meant to be a full-time job, but I think it is. And then you all have full-time jobs besides that. And I take my hat off to you. I know that you take a lot of flack, and I'm glad to say that I support you, even though there are many different opinions on this commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the audience that would like to come speak? What about online?
Not that has responded, no.
No one's there, okay. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and move along. So our first order of business today is a public hearing. So we'll have Andrew Jackson come up and open up this public hearing for the Sims rezone. This hearing will be open to receive written comments until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, June 24th. And we'll also take public comment tonight as well, if there's anyone for that.
I don't know if you want to do that at 6 or if you make those changes, but I'm happy to talk about it right now.
It says we can, so the only thing that we have to do after 6 is anything that has to do with our budget.
Sure.
We have to have after 6, and so as long as we post it, that we can do it at 4, and I believe it's been posted that way, so we are good for 6 o'clock, or
Okay.
4 o'clock.
Perfect. This proposal would change the zoning of a 1-acre property along Highway 191 from a mix of highway commercial and general business to entirely highway commercial. The change eliminates split zoning on the parcel, creates consistent development standards, and aligns with the county's general plan and surrounding highway-oriented commercial uses. Staff recommends approval. Obviously, this is just the opening up of the public comment period. Planning Commission did recommend approval of this.
Okay. Do we have anyone in the audience that's here to speak on the public hearing? You have any? So we'll ask our questions next meeting, and we'll be voting on this on our next meeting. All right, so moving along to,
This will remain open, right?
I read that first.
That's right.
Yeah. Public comment till Wednesday, June 24th at 5 p.m. Next, we have a department report by our Personnel Services Department, Tess Barger. I just saw her come in. So quiet in here today.
I know.
Sometimes.
I can almost hear myself think. All right, wonderful. Well, I have a very concise presentation because I did want to be conscientious of the time. So what I would love to do is essentially go through the information that I felt would probably hopefully be most interesting to the commission to hear in regards to updates to the Personnel Services Department, and then of course any questions that you all have along the way, please feel free to ask. And then of course, more than happy to answer any questions that you have at the end, if that sounds like a plan. So first, to start off at a glance, at Greene County, we currently have 225 folks on payroll with us. This includes full-time, part-time, on-call, and our elected positions. We also do payroll processing for Moab, mosquito abatement, as well as the cemetery district. And currently, we have 8 posted vacancies and 14 unposted vacancies. So these unposted vacancies are those positions that would fall into the hiring freeze category. 2 of the positions have been requested and approved but are not currently being backfilled just due to capacity of the department. That's the library department, and those hours are covered by other part-time staff. But the remainder of those unposted vacancies are positions that the department heads have not yet come before the commission with to request. And that kind of perfectly segues into the year-to-date updates that I wanted to provide. So in regards to that hiring freeze, again, I really want to give credit and appreciation to the department heads of the frozen positions that have not been brought forth. They've worked really hard to figure out other means of covering those responsibilities and needs in order to not need to up to this point come before you all requesting those. And so specifically, there are a number of fuels reduction, both the full-time and seasonal positions within weeds, our IT support technician position, again, the 2 library clerk positions I mentioned, the assistant road supervisor, as well as a laborer operator position within the roads department, 1 ARF technician, airside technician position at the airport, a part-time jail nurse position, Moab Office of Tourism Assistant Director position, so Mick Soletta, our current director's former position, part-time engineering technician, as well as associate planner positions within the Planning and Zoning Department. I also wanted to check in about our reduced hours pilot as we talk about our year-to-date updates. So as of May 1st, we had saved approximately $20,000 of the general fund specifically related to reduced hours pilot. So again, this was the pilot that the commission agreed for us to try this year of allowing staff to work lower than 40 hours per week or 80 hours per pay period. We have approximately 10 staff that have opted in to this, and I've not yet surveyed staff interest in continuing this into 2027. I know that I can speak for my department that we do plan to request and put our salary and benefits budgets together, requesting that we do go back up to 2,080 hours, so full-time 40-hour-a-week hours in 2027. But closer to next year, I'll go ahead and survey staff and see whether or not this is, as well as department heads, and see whether or not this is something that they feel doesn't cause any negative impacts or maybe even has some positive impacts for staff who have maybe some better flexibility in their schedules because they aren't required to get to that 40 hours. Additionally, in year-to-date updates, so our employee handbook revision phase 1 was completed officially in May, so we were finally able to wrap that up. Phase 1 of the employee handbook update, and as a reminder, our handbook had not been updated since 2014. We had resolutions adopted since then, of course, but again, not comprehensively updated our employee handbook. So phase 1 of that revision included consolidating all of those resolutions, updating terminology, and including any new state code that had changed or needed addition. Do we have any questions so far? Okay, wonderful. So as we look forward, and I think that this is, of course, a really important part of any department update. So the topics that I wanted to briefly discuss in that forward look that are conversations happening within my department as well as agency-wide that people come to my department with include reconsideration of the mid-year or of the cost of living proposal. So during the end of budget season last year, it was discussed that there would be an intent to reconsider a cost of living adjustment for staff at the mid-year point. So my department has the information together and at any point whenever the commission is able to consider that proposal, we happily are able to present that information to you all. So that is still with the 2026 Social Security Administration's 2.8% COLA. And just to let you all know in advance in terms of how this year is trending, currently, while the Social Security Administration doesn't actually come out formally with their announced COLA until approximately October every year, they are tracking that it will be between 3.8 to 4.7% this year. And so that is directly based off of consumer reports and labor reports at the federal level, and essentially it mirrors what type of inflation impacts.
Is it 3.8 to 4.7?
3.8 to 4.7 for 27. And again, it fluctuates. I've checked on it a few times in the last month, and they've kept within that track. It could, however, certainly change before October.
Stephen has a comment,
Just a
question.
super quick question. Would it be possible to know at a later date, not necessarily now, what the total would be to pay for this whole year for the COLA amount? Or for like going forward, I don't know what those two amounts, maybe that information at a future date would be helpful. We should to know it.
So providing,
What you guys do?
On a future agenda.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure, I apologize if I missed part of your question, whether you were curious about what the projections would look like for a retroactive cost of living adjustment. That's specifically what you were.
Both, just to know, I mean, for
So
the price
different
tag.
scenarios,
Right.
Sure, the different scenarios would be available, yes, absolutely.
I think we'll have that discussion next month, on one of the meetings next month. You'll have the information then.
Great, thank you. Additionally, another intent that was shared during budget season was reconsideration of position reclassification proposals that were not approved during budget season. And so just to provide an update on that, we do still have that information. There are also some department heads that have identified other needs for reclassifications within their departments. And so have provided me that information. Again, that's information that I can have prepared and ready to present to the commission at whatever point you're able to, to review it. And also, if that is not a possibility prior to budget season, in preparation for 27, then we luckily have been able to do our homework a little in advance, and we will be ready for 2027 budget conversations in that regard. Next is my department is looking at doing an employee benefits analysis. And so specifically how we are planning to conduct this is we've drafted a survey that is almost ready for distribution amongst our staff. And in the survey, we will be collecting feedback from staff about their satisfaction with our current benefits. If rates go up, so our renewal rate, as you all know, last year, we did receive an increase from Cigna, and there were a lot of considerations of what do we do? Do we change the plans? Do we change who we're getting our health insurance through? And so we are going to be receiving some of that feedback from the staff on if we receive another renewal and we need to look at making some changes. What changes feel most accessible to you? Is it that we increase insurance premiums? Is it that we increase deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums? Is it that we look at, can we go out to bid and we look at some other options aside from Cigna? We'll also be surveying staff openness and potential utilization of things like if we offer an incentive to opt out of our benefits, and if we open up insurance to domestic partners and their dependents, who would be opting into that. So just to try to get an assessment of what those impacts would look like if we did adopt any of those changes. One other thing that we do plan on executing, and then one other item I'll kind of give to you is something to consider. One additional item that we are working on is outlining our plan for phase 2 of the employee handbook. So again, our phase 1 was essentially just getting it caught up to date. Phase 2, however, is when we are looking at getting staff feedback and making bigger changes and modifications to the handbook. While I don't have the start to finish plan outlined, I have a rough idea of how I would like us to do that, including forming a committee, going through the handbook section by section, and then per section receiving staff feedback so that they can provide more specific feedback related to whatever the policies are that we're evaluating during that time period. Our employee handbook is 100 pages long. It will be a long process, but we want to do it thoroughly, as well as put expectations in place for how frequently we do a very comprehensive review of it. It should be reviewed at least annually by my department, and the recommendation is biannually through legal review. So those are some more straightforward reviews, of course, but again, when we look at it through more of that comprehensive lens, I'd like to do a little bit more research and come up with a better recommendation for how often we should be doing a big overhaul like this. The last item that I will give you all is something to take away from this is the potential for needing to do a compensation survey for Grand County. The last time that we did a comprehensive compensation survey where we looked at our pay plan as well as all the compensation ranges for positions was in 2021, and those changes were adopted going into 2022. So we have not completed that for 5 years. This comes up more and more often, and I think it will continue to. I think that we see it through struggles such as being able to backfill some of our higher level positions, and a lot of the feedback that we've received from both candidates as well as both the search firms that we've worked with is that our pay ranges were not competitive in the way that they needed to be to get the type of, to bring in as many applicants as we hoped to. So whether that compensation survey validates that we're doing a great job in certain aspects or in certain departments in paying competitive wages, or if it shows us gaps that we need to strategize to fill so that we can continue retaining and recruiting new talent, I think that would be a very worthwhile endeavor for us to do. And at any point when we feel like we can consider embarking on a project such as that, then we can have more conversations about whether or not we should complete that internally or externally. There are pros and cons to both, whether it be hiring a consulting firm to help complete that survey or whether or not we were to do it in-house like we did in 2021. That's the information that I have for you all today.
One of the things is when you're looking at that step and grade right there, would it be a possibility to look at a step and grade increase for employees who are no longer eligible for URS, especially looking at some of our higher level positions?
Yeah, so specific to URS, that one is interesting because Utah Retirement Systems per state code has some pretty specific restrictions on not offering cash in lieu of retirement benefits. So if somebody is not eligible to receive retirement from us, if we say have some other means specifically dedicated to employees who can't receive X, Y, and Z because of retirement, that may still put us, I like to say that I like to keep us away from hot water and warm water in terms of that. And so we're working on getting more information from Utah Retirement Systems, but I don't have a good conversation, or I don't have a thorough answer for you on that. And in regards to higher level employees, there are some different ideas or thoughts that I've thrown out before, whether it be that we do some type of sign-on and retention bonus, like 2 year, if you stay with us for 2 years, you get, this one-time bonus. Another topic that has come up a number of times before and I anticipate will continue to is that our stepped out employees, meaning our employees that have lots of experience and have been with the county for a long time, are at a step 15, meaning that they no longer receive any wage increases. They receive a cost of living adjustment, but that is something that has continued to be brought up to me as well. And I have some information and different ideas of how to address that. What's really nice is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel for a lot of these things. There are a number of HR groups that speak very frequently in the state and have been able to glean some really great information on what they're doing. And I think that it helps me to know where we sit in terms of are we sort of falling in line with what other employers are doing, or there's some areas that we're really excelling at, or some areas that we could look at maybe filling some gaps.
Maybe a request would be when we look at those mid-year amendments, if you could maybe bring forward some of those ideas for the URS as well as some of the stepped out employees. I think that would be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, I too would like to see something brought forward as soon as possible on that. I know we've got some employees that have been waiting considerable amount of time, and if we need to do some digging or find out what we have to do there to compensate them fairly when they're not getting a retirement, I think it would be certainly helpful if we could move that forward a little bit.
Anything else? Do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Okay, so our next is number 4, do you have any agency reports or general business action items? Number 4 is commission member disclosures and future considerations. Mike?
As per usual, my wife works for the sheriff's department.
Mike? Bill?
Yeah, I've got a future consideration that I'd like to put on. A couple of us have been approached by the mine down in San Juan County about doing copper recycling out at Crescent Junction. And so there is probably a need for a workshop to where we could, and UAC has agreed to participate in that, where they could come down. There's multiple options to put a development zone around Crescent Junction if we wanted to in the future. There's what many people call CRAs, Community Reinvestment Agencies. I think one of those was tried up around the college and it didn't work years back before I was a commissioner. And then because there's a rail aspect to Crescent, then there's the possibility of utilizing the Utah Inland Port Authority and doing some sort of an interlocal agreement with them. Or there's also what are called regionally significant development zones, RSDZs. So there's kind of a, for lack of a better word, a smorgasbord of options. And I think that it would be good for all of us commissioners to be educated by UAC, if we have that interest, to kind of show us what would be the best way forward out there. There's a lot of different degrees in this just because of the railroad. You know, the portion of it, the recycling is not, it doesn't utilize any water. It's some sort of electrolysis process, but there would be a benefit to our solid waste district. So I know that they've got a couple of other options. They're looking at Green River and something closer to Price as well. But I think if there's an option for us to benefit from something out there, I would like to reach out to UAC if the chair's fine with that and see if it could happen at the next commission meeting. And if it can't, then find a schedule that works for them that they could, I'm pretty sure they're willing to travel down here to educate us on those 3 different options and how that would look moving forward if we so choose to. There's also a data center education meeting with UAC on the 24th. I think we all got an email about that. I think it would be important just because I'm certainly not pushing a data center, but those things come up with when these kind of discussions happen around the Utah Inland Port, that as commissioners, we probably should make an effort to at least zoom into that meeting on the 24th, and I'd have to look.
I don't think they're gonna allow a Zoom option when I was listening
they're
to
not?
because they want people to show up.
How do they?
Yeah,
Well, my apology. I know I'm
yeah.
scheduled to show up,
Yeah,
but
they want people to show up. They don't want to Zoom, which is a bummer because it's hard, but
yeah.
are you done? Wait a
Yeah, that's
second.
all I've got on it. I just want to get some education for the diocese.
Yeah, and I think whatever, if you can let us know when they're available.
Okay.
Next meeting is fine. I don't think we have a workshop planned for that, but if we need to look at a different date.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'd like to throw in a couple of things. First, I'd like to bring up the credit card policy that we had brought forth by our internal auditor up for a discussion and then possibly a vote on the following meeting at our next meeting. So I'd like to get that brought up to the commission. And then second, also with what Bill was saying, I've been working with Andrew, trying to get a resolution together for a moratorium on data centers. And so we have something started, and we're gonna wait until, of course, we go to that June 24th meeting up there and kind of see what some of the other counties are doing as well, just to make sure that we're thinking of all the traps that we might not be seeing. And then also I'd like to look at bringing forward an energy tax for data centers as well, which is another option that we might be able to bring. So those 3 items, if I can get those added to the next commission agenda meeting, that would be great.
Okay, will you send Dana an email?
Yes, I can do that.
All right, and Stephen?
And just noting on the CRA conversation, we had a presentation from UPC down here a couple of years ago. I can't recall who presented on it, I just reached out to Bob Church, who is over UPC and providing education. We're happy to supplement or to provide additional information. It may have been UAC or a presenter from UAC that presented that, but I reached out and I'll send that information to Commissioner Whitfield. They have presented that here, I think it was like 2 years ago at the Moab Valley.
And what is UPC?
Sorry, Utah Prosecution Council.
Okay, thanks.
So basically the attorney portion of UAC had done a presentation on it, so.
Anything else? All right, moving along to the approval of the consent agenda items. So our first is A, the approval of meeting minutes for June 2nd, 2026. B is the ratification of payment of bills. Total bills of $2,004,084.26. Total payroll of $262,013.99. For total bills and payroll of $2,266,098.25. C is the ratification of right of entry for Lions Bag LLC for the 4th of July fireworks. D is ICA with Vortex Fireworks for the 4th of July fireworks show. E is a ratification of local consent for Moab Brewers for the 2026 Grand County Fair. I can't believe you're not plugging the fair over there.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
We got
Ratification of
got us
letter
over
of
there, yeah.
support for the Moab Museum State Co-op Marketing Grant application. G is a ratification of letter of support for the Friends of the Moab Folk Festival State Co-op Marketing Grant application. H is a ratification of a letter of support for the Moab Music Festival Co-op Marketing Grant application. I is a grant approval for the Division of Outdoor Recreation to the Old Spanish Trail Arena for the Archery Range project. J, approval of revised library board bylaws. K is SWSSD1, request for letter supporting the district's glass recycling grant application. It's a solid waste SSD. Independent contract agreements for the 2026 Grand County Fair for Snob Productions. And M is the independent contract agreements for the 2026 Grand County Fair for a Paradise Carriages. Mike?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? That passes unanimously. 6, all right, we're moving on to our Four Corners Community Behavioral Health Fiscal Year 2027 Area Plan, and that is with the Executive Director for the Four Corners Behavioral Health, Melissa Huntington.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
You can.
Okay, perfect. So what I am here to present to you guys today, and you should have all received a copy of the very long document, which is our annual area plan. A few years ago, the state of Utah moved it to a 3-year plan. And so the in-between years of when we get it approved, we update the document, but we don't have to come before the commissions to get it signed. That 3-year, the first round of 3-year plans has come and gone, and we have a new FY27 3-year plan. So this will be the plan that is going for the next 3 years. And we are coming around to the commission meetings to get that approved. And for those who may not be aware, the area plan is essentially a document that we're statutorily obligated to write that essentially talks about the services that we'll be providing to the areas in our catchment area. And so Four Corners catchment area is Carbon, Emery, and Grand County. So we come to each of the commission meetings and we present our plan for approval from the commissioners to sign, indicating their support of the plan for the next 3 years. Knowing that annually it gets updated and reviewed by DHHS for any updates that may occur in between that time. So that's why I'm here today, and just needing to get approval and signatures for that document and answer any questions you may have.
Any questions on this 113-page document? From anyone? We reviewed it at our board meeting. I'm the liaison for this board. Go ahead, Mike.
I move to approve for the fiscal year 2027 area plan for for the Four Corners Community Behavioral Health Incorporated and authorize all commission members to sign all associated documents.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first by Mike and a second by Bill. Any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor? And that passes 5 with 2 absent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commission. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving along to number 7 is emergency purchase of maintenance department riding mower. And do we have, oh, there you are, Sean, front row.
Just a
Come on
brief-
up, Sean, facilities
Sean,
and
up here.
maintenance supervisor.
How are y'all doing today?
Good.
So, coming before you to request the emergency purchase of a riding mower, since my current one is dead in the water. And tried to maintain it and keep it running, but it's come to a point where I either need to put a lot of money into the current one I have, or get a new one. So that's where I'm at.
Mike?
Isn't this below $5,000 purchasing cost?
It is, but it's out of budget.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't requested.
Then I got you.
Okay, Mike?
I move to approve the purchase of the Mustang Z46 zero-turn lawn tractor from the local vendor.
Do we have to restate the amount? We have-
Fiscal impact, $3,899.98.
I'll second.
And second? Okay, should we practice and do a roll call vote?
Yeah, might as well.
All right, those in favor?
I,
You're gonna say your, do you have to say your name if you
Yes.
do roll call vote?
I'll-
I call it Brian, practicing our new
Aye.
policies and procedures. Mary,
Yes.
Mike,
Aye.
Bill,
Yes.
and Melody, yes. Okay, that passes 5 with 2 absent.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Good luck mowing the lawn at that time.
That was one of our questions, Stephen, if we have to do that.
I've heard.
I've heard.
All right, number 8 is the approval of the MIC bathrooms, the Monarch Information Center bathroom remodel. Commissioner Martinez, do you want to lead on this one?
Yeah, I think that we kind of discussed it a little bit at the last meeting, so what we're looking for is a remodel at the MIC. It's a project that's in desperate need. I think it's going to benefit both our maintenance department, who's been over there quite a bit, and all the visitors that we have here to Grand County. There's a bid up there for $200,000. Plus, there's going to be the need for some portable toilets during the remodel. I can answer any questions that anybody has.
Where was it? Where did we come up to what budget it was gonna come out of?
I think this is going to have to come out of capital projects.
And are we voting on the porta potties as well in this, or is that included in the $200,000 cost?
No, it's going to be additional plus, and I think that we're going to be looking somewhere
They said it,
about like $2,000, somewhere there. So, I mean, I guess we could say, you know,
2,200.
$202,000, up to $202,000 in the recommended motion.
Okay, are we voting on the, we have 2 quotes for the porta potties, are we voting on those today too as well? They're in our,
Yeah, they're both, I think both of them, one of them's ADA and the other one is a standard, was it not?
yeah,
So it's actually more than 2,000, Brian, let me see if I can find
that
it.
quote, if we go with the ADA one, it's just a total of $1,290.
It was my understanding.
But then you
we
have a
need
weekly.
both,
Oh,
that we need both of those quotes that Dana sent us. No?
No.
Okay, then I missed,
I just got two quotes from the 2 companies here in town.
oh, okay.
One company has.
you wanna come up here and talk so people can hear you?
Please, come on over.
Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah.
You can talk up there or sit down either way.
I just reached out to both companies here in town, and got quotes for a month of using the porta potties. The one company have ADA, accessible toilets and also hand washing stations. The other company does not. So that's why one is quoted with 4 porta potties and the other one is 1 ADA and then 3 other porta potties.
And Sharon, do you know with this quote, is this a one-time fee, or, and then it would be more than this because there'd be multiple service
There is some service put in there. I think they have a line with three.
A line of three.
I think that's the service. It could be possibly be more because depending on when this is done, if it's done during the busy season, we're gonna need more service than 3. If it's done in the winter, 3 would probably work.
Okay, but it's, for 3, it's $180, 3 weeks, so even if it's 6 weeks, it's gonna be $360, okay. All right, somebody had a hand up, sorry, Bill?
Sure. I move to approve the $200,000 for the full remodel of the MIC bathrooms from the, what fund were we talking, Brian? Sorry.
Capital projects.
The Capital Projects Fund to be completed by a state contractor, and also include in this for the quote for the ADA compliant bathrooms for another $1,290 with the potential for several hundred more if we go over time in cleaning fees for those restrooms, portable restrooms.
Second.
Okay,
Can that hit everything?
Mary I feel like it took everything. Mary second, okay. So we're gonna do roll call vote, Brian,
Yep.
Mary,
Yes.
Mike,
Aye.
Bill,
Yes.
Melody, yes. That passes 5 with 2 absent. Hooray.
Thank you. The county and I thank you a lot.
I was like, maintenance, thanks.
And the people.
All right, so number 9 is the resolution for Vista Antigua amended final plat, and that is Andrew Jackson, Planning and Zoning Director.
Andrew Jackson, Grand County Planner. This item asks the County Commission to approve an amended final plat that merges 3 side-by-side lots in the Vista Antigua subdivision, lots 32, 33, and 34, into one larger lot called Lot 33A, totaling about 1.6 acres. Combining the lots erases the interior property lines between those lots, but keeps the existing utility and drainage easements in place. No new lots, roads, or buildings come from this request. The area's zoning does not change. Staff recommends approval, subject to the county engineer's signature and no right owner's acknowledgement. Additionally, because it's a planned unit development, they do have conditions, covenants, and restrictions on the property, and in section 4.3 of their conditions, covenants, and restrictions, it permits lots to be combined as long as no new lots are created. So we would normally have like some questions with property owners in the PUD, but they've already agreed to that prior to the subdivision being recorded, that lots could be combined. And this is by resolution. It should be by resolution, and so I've done these staff reports different. Each time I try and do something to see if this works or not. And so I actually have the plain English summary on the agenda summary, which I think came a little bit later to you. And then item 2 is suggested county commission motion. So I'm just trying to make it a little easier for folks to find. And I think that was sent out in the republished packet that was sent earlier today.
I'm trying to hunt it down.
It's in the first one, number 2. Go ahead, Brian.
Let's see here. After reviewing the staff report and the final amended plat and any public comment, and finding that the plat containing lots 32, 33, and 34 into 33A is consistent with the Vista Antigua PUD and the Grand County Land Use Code, I move to approve this resolution approving the amended final plat for Vista Antigua PUD Phase 1, lots 32, 33, 34, and to authorize the commission chair to execute the plat subject to the county engineer's signature and a notarized owner's acknowledgement.
Thank you. Okay, second by Bill. Any discussion? Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Thank you.
Mary, are you opposed?
Oh, no, I apologize.
Okay.
I was raising my hand in my head.
That passes 5-0. All right, thank you, Andrew. We're gonna move on to number 10 is the resolution to respect our neighbors' rights and the rule of law, the July 4th fireworks. I think, Commissioner, McGann, are you gonna read this resolution?
I thought I should.
Okay, and then I have invited the fire department, so we have Clark Mon here, and he's gonna talk about some of the calls and stuff that they have during that. So
Oh,
go ahead,
thank you, because I was going
read
to
that
talk
resolution
from my
and then-
history that
Yeah, and then
Husband
you can go ahead and come up here too, Clark.
okay.
You can stand or you can sit.
Enjoy the family during 4th of July, to say the least.
Yeah.
A resolution to respect our neighbors' rights and the rules of law regarding use of fireworks on and around the 4th of July celebration. Whereas current and forecasted prolonged drought coupled with the extreme dry vegetation throughout southeastern Utah have created hazardous fire conditions demanding extreme caution, and whereas igniting fireworks are known to be a cause of wildfires, and minimizing the threat of wildfire in Grand County is critical to maintain public health, safety, welfare, and economic well-being of Grand County citizens. And whereas the 4th of July celebration, the founding of America, a nation bound by the rule of law. And whereas in past years, illegal fireworks have been discharged without respect to laws and disregard to other citizens' rights and safeties and welfare. And whereas the Moab City adopted ordinance 2026-10 on April 28, 2026, imposing a temporary ban on the discharge of fireworks within designated areas of the city. Now therefore it be resolved that by the Grand County Commission that it does hereby respectfully implore the citizens to respect our neighbors' rights and the rule of law, including discharging or using any kind of fireworks on public or unincorporated private land regarding use of legal fireworks on and around the 4th of July celebration.
Thank you. And Clark, I'd love you to share what it's like to be a fireman on the 4th of July.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. You're doing that as a commission. As you guys all are well aware of, it's exceptionally dry this year. Our fire danger rating is very high at all elevations in Grand County right now. One of the primary ingredients to go into that, the fire danger rating is the energy release component, or ERC. What it's called. It's basically a measure of how hot, intense, and difficult to control a wildfire is. And right now, that's based off the size of the vegetation in a given area. Right now, in the lower elevations of Grand County, we're at the 95th percentile for that, well above the 10-year average. At the higher elevations, like up in the LaSalle Mountains, we're nearing the 97th percentile, so it's even more severe up there, which is approaching a 10-year high for the fire danger for this time of year. We are right now at the peak of our annual fire danger, right around the middle of June to the end of July, even dribbling into the first week in July is when we reach the peak of our fire danger every year in this part of the state. So with that, going into the 4th of July and fireworks, as the fire department, we're stressing the importance of using personal fireworks safely, as you just mentioned, Mary. So that's very important out there. Only using fireworks outside in an area that's clear vegetation, at least 20 feet away from structures, vehicles, anything flammable, and always having a bucket or a hose available to extinguish any fires that may start as a result of those fireworks. It's been busy for us on the 4th of July, some busier than others, but we will have most of our engines fully staffed that evening with a combination of our regular staff and volunteer firefighters. And we'll be patrolling around the valley and working through the evening as needed. Our partners over at the BLM are also maintaining staffing until around 8 p.m. that evening. So So we want to encourage the public to stay clear of emergency vehicles as we move around the valley and avoid blocking access to the fire hydrants. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe one
Okay.
question. I'm sure you guys are on top of all of this, but I'm hoping and guessing that the Forest Service and others are on. I know that we get regular updates from the state fire, but we don't really see much from the Forest Service or anything, but they're on high alert as well, because I'm sure that fireworks with the 250th celebration is not going to be limited to the streets of Moab.
Yeah, it's not. I think, all the federal partners are, aware of the condition and they're staffing accordingly. I know that, they're increasing patrols and so forth on the forest.
Perfect. I'll make that motion.
He's got it.
Go for it.
I move to approve the resolution to respect our neighbors' rights and rule of law regarding the use of fireworks on and around the 4th of July celebrations.
Okay, and second by Mike. All in favor? All right, that passes by vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Number 11 is the resolution adopting a letters of support policy. And this is Commission Administrator Mark Tyner. You're going to talk about this.
Yes, in your package, you have a proposed resolution and policy addressing letters of support and how those are requested of the county commission. This will allow for a more structured process, and it also will allow us to, our ComAdmin, to maintain and ensure that any of these requests align with the county's goals and objectives.
Mike?
I make a motion, I move to approve the resolution adopting the county letters of support policy.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, Mary.
I just want to thank you, Mark, for doing this. It's something that's probably should have been done years ago, and I'm glad that someone stepped forward and did it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And one of our commissioners had asked me to look into that, Mary, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, and then will we be sending out this policy to our partners?
Yes.
Okay.
And all the nonprofits in town.
Yeah, and that was mentioned at the last meeting when we brought that up, that we needed to widely distribute that.
Sure, our boards and some of our partners, just like those that are here tonight and others. Thank you.
We will.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
No, just real quick, thanks, Mark, for getting that put together. Not only does this help the commissioners, but it also helps the staff as well, that are being asked for these roles. So thank you for getting that done.
And then potentially, if there happened to be a newspaper that wanted to, us to reach out to a newspaper to give them this information, maybe they would want to circulate the county stance on letters of support.
Potentially.
Potentially.
All right, all in favor? And that passes unanimously with 2 absent. Okay, moving on to number 12 is our 2026-2027 opioid settlement funding allocation. And we have Gabe Wojtek online, our clerk auditor. We also have some of the applicants in the audience, and I will ask them to come up and speak as well after Gabe. Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't need to say too much. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. So we've been taking this action, approving an allocation here for a few years. So you all should be familiar as part of the state of Utah and Grand County's involvement in the One Utah National Opioid Settlement. Funds are dispersed to Grand County for the purpose of addressing community needs related to opioid use disorders. And so we received requests from all of the existing recipients, as well as a request from the Southeast Utah Health Department. And I tried to include as much detail as possible in the agenda packet as it relates to those requests received, which were all updated. In the past, we had kind of recycled the previous request to just extend the allocation for another year. This time, all recipient organizations entered a updated request. I also included information regarding the MOU itself, the amount that we would expect to receive. There's some information that's information prepared by UAC, the Utah Association of Counties, as well as a tracking spreadsheet that I maintain that just shows all of the disbursements made to date over the years since this program began. I'm really proud of it. We've dispersed funds out into the community with no delay. And I think we've been out ahead as a county in the state in terms of getting these funds out into our community so that they can be used for their intended purpose. And so I don't think I have anything else to say other than there is an additional request to consider here that is outside of what has been allocated in the past.
Thank you, Gabe. We're gonna let them present.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, anyone that came, we sent out an invitation. So it looks like we have our recovery center here, and we have people from Wellness Collective and USARA. So anyway, who would like to come up? And I know some of you wanted to speak, so anybody want to start first?
We can start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Cook, sorry.
All is fine. Good.
And how do we hook up?
And Doug, okay, so you'll want to get on the Zoom.
Zoom.
Yep,
Okay.
you'll want to get yourself on the Zoom, and then we can share the screen. But if it's the same as I think we have it in there, so people can follow along online if you.
We sent this to the agenda as well, it should be included.
Yes, yeah.
I think what I'll do is just, for brevity, is to just refer to the flyer and then also associate MRRC services with the One Utah Opioid Settlement Core Strategy. So I think most of us who live in this community are aware of the Recovery Center. We are a division of the hospital, which is a federally designated critical access hospital. So it is a nonprofit 501c3. I think there's sometimes some confusion over our funding in terms of when we're applying for funding that would kind of come from a profiting organization. We are the only full-service outpatient recovery center in Southeast Utah, so we're kind of unique in that regard. We seek to serve all people regardless of their ability to pay for services, and we provide full spectrum outpatient services for substance use disorder with aggressive wraparound case management and other services extending particularly to vulnerable populations, particularly incarcerated people and pregnant and parenting women. So we prescribe opioid use disorder medications and medications for managing withdrawal. Excuse me, we integrate primary care and mental health into our treatment. We care for pregnant women in our program. We do provide pretty robust harm reduction services in the clinic. And then we provide really robust case management and peer support. We also have supportive programming like weekly groups, including everything from music, fitness, meditation, acupuncture, talking circle, and we put on some community events like art for the recovery community. We do extend services into the Grand County Jail, so provide medical services for folks there, particularly with particular attention to any substance use needs. We started a harm reduction program in the jail, which has been very successful in terms of educating people in the jail of their reasonable options for access to treatment, which is really alarming to me how people actually don't know that there's help out there. And it's been really wonderful to partner with USARA to have groups in the jail. We've been able to develop a program where we distribute naloxone to people as they exit the jail, which is actually in alignment with the One Utah Opioid Settlement Strategy. And we are one of the most unique rural county jails in doing so. I presented at a national conference on this project, and we really do stand alone in terms of providing naloxone, providing education, and providing on-the-spot treatment for substance use disorder. And we feel passionate about it because that population particularly is vulnerable to reuse as soon as they leave, and they have some of the highest overdose rates and mortality compared to anybody else in the population. So, our visits have increased, and we do pretty hard work like everyone else in this valley. We did 3,300 plus visits last year, and we're a fairly small staff. I'm the main provider, Doug's the clinic director. We have a very part-time mid-level provider, 2 nurse case managers, 2 recovery nurses, a therapist, and a peer support person. We had about nearly a 10% increase in visits last year compared to the year before. And like Doug was explaining to me that from a business model, that's almost not sustainable. We had 383 unique visits last year, so unique patients. Sorry.
What kind of visits do you see?
Unique patient encounters, so new patients or patients who are coming back. And I think what that speaks to is we actually see people with quite high intensity and frequency. So 383 unique encounters, but then 3,300 visits, so people coming back, nurse visits, provider visits. And then out of the population that we see at the recovery clinic, 33% are self-pay or uninsured. So we provide a lot of charity care while we're working on financial assistance. So, we really love collaborating with the community, and we appreciate our partnerships in the community. We feel like we do good work, and we base everything we do on evidence, and especially feel passionate about allocation of funds aligning for treatment and prevention. The One Utah Opioid Settlement Core Strategy, asks to distribute naloxone and other FDA drugs, which I feel like we do a good job. We do it in our clinic, in the jail. We provide naloxone to the emergency department and have started a program in the emergency department to start people on treatment as soon as they present with an opioid overdose. We also attend other community events and distribute naloxone. Like I've mentioned, we offer medication-assisted treatment like Suboxone, Vivitrol, Methadone, which if any of you know anybody in recovery, some of them can really speak to the value of these medications and stabilizing them and being able to reclaim their lives, reducing recidivism, certainly reducing mortality, although it's hard to measure that if someone stays alive. They just don't die. We do align with the core strategy of treating pregnant and postpartum women. We always have a core of women who fall in this category, and we directly manage their care. We collaborate with a specialty clinic in Salt Lake, and we've just begun to bring a family medicine OB-trained provider into our clinic in a model called reverse integration, where she comes to us so that patients don't have to leave our clinic, because they often won't, they won't cross the street. We really value our expansion of warm handoffs and care collaboration and case management. So helping people get on Medicaid, get into residential treatment, navigate hospital assistance if they need to do that, find housing, collaborate with peer support, etc. And then, of course, working with treatment court and the jail folks. We do everything we can to try and support them so that they're successful in their goals and that we don't find them back in the justice system and reoffending, but rather, succeeding in their life goals. So we appreciate your time, and everything pretty much is on this one flyer. I didn't go through the presentation slide by slide because I figured it was better just to talk about what we do, but we're certainly open to questions about the work we do in the Recovery Center, and just looking forward, we're applying for grants. We're very much grant funded. Doug and I run around ragged, mostly Doug, managing about 4 or 5 grants at a time. So just demonstrating that we really do rely on outside funding for our services. Right now, we're applying for a grant that hopefully will expand our reach into a mobile unit where we'll be able to drive around and do outreach and provide much more robust telehealth services into all of Southeast Utah and even up more north, like into Emerald County, because we're unique. We have people coming from Salt Lake, Grand Junction, because they don't have a model like this anywhere else. So we're lucky here, but we do need help. So we appreciate your consideration in allocating opioid settlement funds to opioid treatment.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting to have this program in our community. It's a big improvement.
Thanks.
Any questions?
Any questions? Miller?
Good work. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
They're busy.
Thanks very much.
All right. Brianne, you gonna come up?
Let me come up.
Brianne's with Wellness Collective.
thanks for having me. I'm Brianne, I'm the Executive Director of the Wellness Collective. And for transparency, I thought I might add that I'm also part-time employed at USARA, and I'm the board chair for the Southeastern Utah Board of Health. Though today, I'm here solely to represent the Wellness Collective. So I'm just gonna speak today about our request for continued opioid settlement funding. And today, I think Dana so kindly passed out a flyer, or she gave a handout, so thanks to Dana for that. As many of you know, the Wellness Collective is a really small nonprofit. Our mission is simple, just to provide free or low-cost wellness, recovery, and community support programs that are accessible to everybody. Over the past several years, the opioid settlement funding has helped us offer recovery and trauma-informed programs for not only individuals, but family members impacted by substance use. Through our partnerships with organizations like USARA, CKVN, EMS, and others, we've been able to extend the reach of services that are already offered to the community with ongoing support. So one thing I find encouraging is that we've seen a lot of growth in our programs. Many of our recovery programs have doubled since this time last year. The attendance has doubled, and some have nearly tripled. So to me, that says that, you know, people are using these services and they find value in them. In this last fiscal year, we received $11,589 from the opioid settlement fund. So we figure that's about $965 a month. And those dollars helped us to support roughly 20 classes a month. So ongoing 20 classes a month with that funding. So we really stretch every dollar that we receive through the funding. Because the Wellness Collective doesn't have a salaried staff, we rely on volunteers and contracted facilitators, donated resources, and many people who care deeply about the community. So the funding goes directly into the programs versus salary. I want to share just a couple quick comments, or I guess you could say little testimonials that we've received from the partners at CKVN, or participants at CKVN. And that's on the handout, but one staff member shared that you all are making such a difference here for our clients' wellness. It's amazing to hear about it. And then another employee wrote, client yoga has absolutely positively impacted some of our shelter clients. A couple of them have arranged their schedules around this time and continue to come even after moving out of the shelter. So for me, I think that those comments really capture, you know, the why this work matters. And I just want to emphasize that recovery doesn't only happen in treatment settings. It happens through relationships and connections and belonging and places where people can go where they feel healthy in the community. And in a rural community like ours, those opportunities really matter. In my work in the community, I've had the opportunity to observe many of the community's responses to substance use and recovery and prevention. And what I've learned is that recovery really requires several different pathways for recovery. There's not just one pathway to recovery, and I think that we provide, one of those pathways. So continued funding helps us to provide these services to people that are relying on them. And so we're asking for continued support for these programs. And yeah, these funds are not something new. We're not starting something new. We're just continuing what's already working for our community. So thank you for listening, and thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Any questions? No.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Annette, you wanna come talk to us too? Tell us all about your program.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me here today and allowing me this opportunity. USARA is a 503(c) nonprofit that relies solely on grants such as this to provide services free to everybody. Grand County is part of Utah's Southeast Health District, which has experienced some of the highest overdose mortality rates in the state. In 2023, Grand County had a fatal overdose rate of all drugs of 31 deaths per 100,000 residents, substantially exceeding the statewide rate of 18.5 per 100,000 residents. However, there has been improvement in the recent years. In 2024, that number dropped from 31 down to 20, and the preliminary data for 2025 indicates that that number will drop down to 10 deaths per 100,000 residents. USARA has participated in Grand County's opioid settlement fund at 60% since April of 2024. From April 2024 to March 2026, USARA has been able to use that funding to provide 1,128 peer coaching sessions to 109 unique individuals, providing over 10 peer coaching sessions per week on average. 444 mutual aid recovery groups with 2,424 attendees, offering 4 groups per week with an average of 23 attendees. In addition to this, we provide a support group weekly in the jail with them attending online 2 times per week, and we offer individual recovery support upon request for folks that are exiting the jail. 39 community events that were attended by 8,426 people. This includes our overdose awareness event that honors lives lost, while providing education to the community on Narcan and informing them on prevention. And our Recovery Day celebration that allows folks to get to know all of the resources that are available to them in a fun and loving way while sharing stories of hope and recovery. One way that USARA measures success is through improved recovery capital. Recovery capital refers to investments that people make in their own lives. This includes relationships, social connections, housing, employment, mental health, physical health, and substance use. The more recovery capital that a person builds up, the greater the likelihood that they will be successful in long-term recovery. To measure the recovery capital, USARA began administering the Substance Use Recovery Evaluation, also known as the SURE, in 2022. The SURE includes 21 questions across 6 different domains of recovery capital. As shown in the chart below, average total SURE scores increased from the first administration to the second administration across each domain. And that's typically between 3 to 6 months. The greatest gains occurred within the domains of outlook on life, which include having realistic hopes and goals, feeling positive, and feeling happy with one's quality of life overall. As you can see, the feeling happy with their quality of life is up 14.3%. This is huge. As a person in recovery myself, this particular domain has played a big role in my long-term recovery. It was incredibly important to find joy and build the kind of life that I no longer wish to escape from. And these are things that we get to do with folks as they come in. Questions and material resources domain include having stable housing, regular income, and managing their money well. Managing their money well is up 22.1%. Questions in the self-care domain focus on taking care of one's mental and physical health, eating a good diet, sleeping well, and having good routine. While taking care of physical health is up 14.1%. And why is this so important? It's important because it repairs the physiological toll of substance use, stabilizes moods, and by restoring the brain's reward system and reduces the likelihood of relapse. These results align with our efforts to help people find and obtain employment, secure stable housing, build hope for the future, and take better care of themselves. As we now know, the opposite of addiction is connection. And I just want to say thank you guys for allowing me this opportunity. I'm really grateful to be here in front of you today.
Brian?
Yeah, I'd like to move to approve the allocation of opioid settlement funds with the following allocation percentages. USARA 60%, Wellness Collective 20%, Moab Regional Recovery Center 20%. And the associated funding agreements for each recipient entity upon completion of review by the county attorney. And then I'd like to make a comment after there's a second.
Okay, so second, go ahead, Brian.
Comment also.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, and then I'd just like to go back over those numbers that you just said. 2023, 31 people to every 100,000 people died.
Yeah, in our area.
And then you look at the funding that started also in 2023. It just shows that, you know, what a difference we could do.
Yeah.
It's been hard to me. So thank you to all these groups. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
It's been great having all of these partnerships too in the community. We all work really well together, so it's been awesome. Thank you guys.
Go.
Yeah, I've had multiple friends and acquaintances that have gone through these programs. I can't speak highly enough for what you guys do. And it's a personal issue for many of us, you know, maybe not in our own lives, but in our lives, right? The lives that we touch daily. So I want to thank all of you, every one of you.
Thank you.
Stephen has a comment as well.
I just want to say that these organizations that presented today, it's a pleasure that my office gets to interact and work with them through the Recovery Corps program. Without their help, assistance, and support that they give individuals in the community, a lot of folks would not be able to make the progress that they do. It's not a perfect place to be involved in the criminal justice system while trying to go through substance abuse issues. However, it happens, and we're fortunate that we have great partnerships and the support that these programs have shared with this community and with my office as well.
And I would just like to point out that the health department did put in a funding request, and I appreciate that funding request. However, I feel like those are being addressed through these three resources, and if there's any way to include the health department in giving them another, maybe bringing some of those Narcan kits or something over to them if they do have a different demographic of people, might be just a thought just to include them in the conversation because they're definitely a partner with us. Even though we're not going to give them any funding today, I did want to recognize that. And they do a good program in Emory and Carbon County, but I think you guys are doing a fantastic job here. And so we want to keep that funding level for you. Any other comments? Okay, those in favor? All right, thank you. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on to 13, which is the approval of the 2026 certified tax rates. And so if Gabe is back online. All right.
Thank you, Chair. So this is another item that we see this time of year every year, and that's approving the certified tax rate. And so once Assessor Swayze in her office finishes up all of the valuations, and they're doing that right up until the final hour. I'm sure all the assessors across the state are. It's quite a big undertaking. We're ready to work with the State Tax Commission to set the rates, and I try to explain how that rate is set in the most concise way possible with a screen grab from the figures as they appear in the certified tax rate portal that I use to transfer all this information. And essentially what it boils down to is there's a year-end budgeted revenue from 2025 that comes from property tax to support general operations. Added to that year-end budgeted revenue is the new growth figures, and so that gives us this overall certified tax rate revenue, and then that amount is divided by the overall value that the assessor has come up with across the entire county, and then that gives us the certified tax rate. And so, of course, the value goes up every year, right? But the budgeted revenue that Grant County, we've stuck with the essentially the same amount of budgeted revenue every year, plus that new growth that gets tacked on. And so that means that the tax rate actually goes down every year as that value rises. And so, yeah, ultimately, this would be we're also approving here the certified tax rate for library. And there, at this point, there's no contemplation by the library or this commission to go through truth and taxation and increase that tax rate. It seems like we'd all rather continue to let that tax rate decrease for our residents. And so that's all I would have to say about that.
Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate that. 6 years in a row. Decreased tax rate, that's pretty good.
That's wonderful.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'd like to make the motion. I move to approve the final 2026 Grand County certified tax rates as presented on Form PT-693 for Grand County operations and library operations.
And Bill seconds, and Mike has a comment?
Yep. Gabe, thanks for throwing up that with the proposed rate certification. Grand County will have lowered its general operation property tax rate for the 6 consecutive years. I actually like seeing that. A lot of our constituents see their taxes going up, and tax rate is a little different than assessed value on your house. But it's good to see that we're trying to lower that tax rate in general.
And Bill, did you have a comment as well?
I think Mike covered it. I think it's important to make sure that the public is aware that the tax rate does go down yearly or has gone down yearly, but that their home values are rising, which means they're still paying more in taxes, but at a lower rate than the previous year. Additional.
Yeah, and Utah's 29 counties, there's only 5 of them that have a lower general operation property tax than Grand County. So, go ahead, Brian.
But we do have some of the higher property values.
Yes, we do. Rates and values are different. Okay, so we have a first and a second on this, and all in favor? Aye, all right, that passes.
Want that
5-0.
headline to read taxes going down.
Tax rate going down.
Tax rate.
Tax rate.
All right, moving on to number 15, Moab Office of Tourism Special Events. Wait a minute. Number 14, Moab Office of Tourism Staffing Presentation and Additional Staffing Request with Michael Saletta, our Director of the Moab Office of Tourism.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Nick Saleta, the Director of the Moab Office of Tourism. This next item, I was asked to present the job description that was attached to the item, as well as discuss staffing generally in the office. I'll give you guys an overview of a finance update to help make this decision. Review DMO org charts as well as the current org chart for the Office of Tourism. Present the job, like I said, attached to the item, and discuss some forthcoming requests about staffing needs of the office. So first, screen. Just a quick finance update and reminder, oftentimes the funding source for the Office of Tourism is confused with things like the general fund, but our office is funded by transient room tax, which we refer to as TRT. This year, the maximum amount of TRT was allocated to mitigation, so 6% was allocated to mitigation sources, i.e. not the Moab Office of Tourism. The minimum was allocated to our office, 44%. The TRT funds that can be used for promotion can only be used for establishing and promoting tourism, recreation, and development conventions. And our office is overseen by the MTAP board, Moab Tourism Advisory Board. So far this year, tax disbursements January through May are up 27% over projection. We've collected $5.7 million through May of 2026, and that's additional $1.25 million for the year. This job description, the funding source will be in the salary and budget line items for the Office of Tourism. This year we budgeted $394,000 for salary and budgets, or excuse me, and benefits. And with our current staff of 2, we will be left over with $146,000 in salary and benefits for the year. And I just give you that number so that in approving this position, you can see that we budgeted for this. The anticipated salary for the assistant is $55,000 to $77,000 for salary and $35,000 for benefits. I made this presentation to the Moab Tourism Advisory Board as well last week. But
Enlarged,
pardon?
can that be enlarged?
The org chart? Don't think so, because I'm in Google Slides.
Okay.
Is there something in particular you want?
He got it, never mind, we got it right here. I wasn't readable from here.
This is just an example DMO chart. I've been thinking about how DMOs across the country and the world are structured. This is an example from the Utah Office of Tourism. And I think of these verticals as sort of levers that the office can pull to achieve its objectives. At the top, you can see there's leadership, and then moving from left to right, data, marketing, including paid, earned, and owned functions, global markets, community relations, strategy, and film. This is the Moab Office of Tourism's organizational chart, again, with the sorts of levers that I was referring to, listed for the staff that we have currently. So leadership at the top, the position that's attached to this item is an administrative assistant position. Under that, on the left is my previous position in the office, which covered marketing, paid media, website or owned media, and strategy. Allie Hartford also works across marketing in global markets. The office previously had a position that covered data and community relations, which is now vacant. And Viga handles film and marketing related to film. So this job description, I want to note that all of the responsibilities in the description are done currently by the office and nothing is new. This just in addition to the job description, to any of the job descriptions that exist, and supports the office across all of these functions: operations, accounting and finance, government and board support, visitor relations, global markets and familiarization, marketing, and film. So reasons to approve this description is to fill a vacant role. This office had a administrative assistant position previously, a number of years ago. Like I said, it handles tasks currently being performed by staff, and it is in the budget for 2026. I can pause here and answer questions. The proposed motion is on this slide. The next section, I'll just talk about a few other staffing needs that the office has.
I think Stephen had a question.
So if you go back to page 9, it lists that there's it says 3 vacancies on it.
Our current org chart?
Yeah. There are 3 vacancies in your guys' office?
Tess might be able to speak to this, and she's in the audience. But the administrative assistant position existed previously in the office.
Right, it was combined into one of the previous positions previously when Skywhite.
Yeah, I think that it changed into an assistant marketing director position.
Right,
in
okay.
economic development.
I just wanted to make sure that the information was correct, that whether there's 3 actual vacancies right now.
So there are 3 actual vacancies.
So the answer to that is no, and the reason for that is the administrative, this isn't a vacant position that we budgeted for. The reason for that is the former administrative assistant position, which was then rolled into the assistant director position, was specifically assistant director of economic development. That position, of course, went away when we restructured development in 2025, and therefore that position essentially went away with it. That being said, the previous structure of this department has certainly included an administrative assistant.
But the reason why I wanted to just make sure we were being exceptionally accurate was because there was multiple reasons as why we rolled that one away. And I don't want to I don't want to dig back into it, but it was based on the allocation of the time that the county, I don't know, the audit and everything else. So I just want to make sure it was clear whether there's vacancies or not.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mike?
Okay.
I'm dying.
Okay.
I'm allergic to this place. Every time I cough.
I like your explanation of approved and within budget and the funding source being TRT. With that, I understand most things that are funded by TRT, like salary side of it, or is the benefit side of it funded by TRT also?
Yes.
Or is that a county fund on that one?
No, it's also funded by benefits. So the cost and entirety of personnel is funded by TRT if they're within the Office of Tourism.
Yep, just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Mary, did you have a comment as well? I just wanted to say that this office has gone through many changes in the last 12 years, but when I was on board, I came on, it was just the Office of Tourism, it wasn't the Office of Economic Development. And at that time, they had 4 members on the staff. And that was prior, the Economic Opportunity or the Economic Development was under the Planning Commission. So they are their number of staff they have is very much decreased. And they did not have film was at the city. So compared to where we were 12 years ago and their work has increased, we are probably functioning with less than half of the staff they were. So I guess with that statement, I'd like to make a motion that we fund this vacancy that will be paid for through TRT funding.
I'll second that.
Okay, and did you have a comment too? Because I saw your hand come up.
Yes, I do have. Mine's a little bit different than Mary's, but Mick, I appreciate the job you're doing over there, and I hear nothing but good that comes out of there. And of course, I remember when we went through the whole hiring thing, I was just glad you got that job. But regardless of what the staff looked like in the past, I am a proponent of smaller government, and I always will be. Now, if your staff needs to grow, and I understand that it does, you need that administrative assistant. I know the airport needs one. A full-time one, right? I get that portion. But when we grow our staff in this county, the benefits that the constituents receive need to grow with it, right? And that's my only request as this department grows, that the performance and the metrics that come out of there and the businesses and the local workers and everybody that benefits from an economy here that isn't a negative one, that moves out with as your department expands. I hope I'm making sense. I'm going about it probably, I won't use the word I thought about, but backwards, right? But that's all I'm trying to communicate is let's not grow our staff to grow it because we've got an extra budget coming in. Let's grow it because our entire community sees that benefit, right? That is coming out of your office, and I commend you for what's coming out of there. That's what I'm ultimately trying to say.
Brian?
Yeah, no, just a couple of quick things. So it's not so much just growth that we're looking at in that office. It really is a complete redesign. The world of marketing has changed from, just the last 2 years. The way that we do business is different now than the way that we did business previously. So thanks, Mick, for coming in here and kind of sharing the vision of how that office is going to need to be redesigned to match the way that we're doing business today. However, I don't want to gloss over something that was in this right here. Overall tax collection is up 27% over projection, May through January disbursement. Collected 5.7 million through May of 2026. That's projections, we had projections of 4.45 million. That's an additional $1.25 million. Right? You asked about benefits right there to our constituents. I mean, I'll talk about benefits all day about that. That means that's more money inside of every single person's pocket right there. That's more services that we're able to provide to all of our constituents. I mean, that's a promise right there of a future opportunity for all of our people here in this community. So whatever work that we're doing in there, you guys are affecting change, and I thank you for it.
I agree.
Okay. I know that he had some more if he wanted to, but we have a motion and a second, so we can go ahead and let's call that vote and then he can finish his presentation.
Sure.
Okay. Is there all in favor of motion? Aye. Okay. That passes 5 with 2 absent. And then go ahead and finish your presentation.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for approving that job description. Incredibly helpful to our office. Future requests as we think about the office, and I am taking into consideration elements of what Bill's talking about and other ideas about how we staff these things. I think instead of the idea of just looking at staffing and growing things, I think we're establishing business objectives and performance indicators are kind of where we start. And like I said, as we look at org charts and people and different ways to achieve those things, that will kind of answer how we grow the office in terms of staffing, or kind of, I like to refer to it as pulling those levers of those various verticals. So there are 3 areas that I think that we could use additional support. I've talked with Tess and also Commission Admin about how the office can get this support. I don't necessarily think that it needs to be full-time support in perpetuity. So we can staff some of these things through contract work, temporary work, or potentially full-time in-person work, or maybe remote work. But I just wanted to present these ideas to you. It was asked of me to talk about my ideas for staffing generally. So the first is paid media staffing. We're spending $1.7 million in paid media this year. That work is coming up with ads and tactics, reviewing those ads, reviewing the performance of those things, and additional support in getting ads out and looking at different ways that we can attract visitors would be helpful to the office. It'd be a point of contact for Madden Media, set up organizational documents for the office, and then consider a few additional tactics, advertisements, and reporting on investments. We're also going through a rebrand, so we're inheriting new creative. So overseeing that brand rollout and making sure it's consistent with that strategy would be helpful. And senior experience would be helpful in paid media. So, we definitely have room to grow with the sorts of support we could have with junior staff, but somebody that has experience in placing paid media specifically in tourism would be helpful to our office. The second is global market staffing support. Global markets is kind of an industry in itself in the tourism industry. Specifically, the international visitors come at particular times that could be beneficial to Moab and Grant County. I'm looking at particularly July and August when a lot of European visitors visit. We have kind of a dip in visitation in those months, and an investment in global markets could help us attract visitors through that period. So this is attending trade shows, but also interacting with tour operators and really building out that line of business. This work would include identifying the markets that we want to target in strategy, set up again organizational documents to track success over time, and then attend and execute the strategy that we come up with. And the last is data and business intelligence. Again, all of these types of support are in those verticals in that example org chart that I showed. But currently our data is very siloed. We're working with Meta Media to have our data be more integrated with the decisions that they make. But we could have a better understanding of who's coming to Moab, from where, and other sorts of insights that could lead to business decisions about who we want to attract and if our efforts are working. So again, I had mentioned establishing performance indicators and business objectives, understanding where people are coming from. Business intelligence can look into things like what food we're leaving on the table and different opportunities that we could pursue to attract additional visitors beyond what is just happening. And then consolidating all of those sources, like I said. So those are just a few areas that I will be looking at budgeting for in 2027. And like I said, I'll work with HR, the board, and you all to come up with ways to support the office. Oh, I have a thank you slide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, we can move on to, any more questions for him?
I think I'm good.
Good.
Well, then we will just move on
Thanks
to.
again, Mick. Really appreciate it.
I'm also the next.
Yeah, you're the next one. And you might as well just stay there, Tess, because you're the next one after.
Great, okay, never mind.
I need to get up and down.
I'll join you. I'll continue to join you.
So number 15 is the Moab Office of Tourism Special Events Marketing Grant Round 2 funding, because we actually did this earlier. Go ahead.
Just gonna share that attachment. The round 2 of our special events marketing grant closed. The Moab Tourism Advisory Board approved or sent a recommendation to you all for funding. I'm happy to answer questions about any of the recommendations that they made, but there's a recommended motion. This is for events for the next year.
Bill, go
I
ahead.
move to approve special event marketing grant awards for events taking place July 2026 through June of 2027 in the amount of $89,451.
2.
Second by Mike, okay. Any other discussion? Brian?
Yeah, I'm just really happy to see this program and how it's moving along. I know that the goal is to bring in more or newer events in off-season time. But the other goal for it too is to be able to attack the funnel at a different location as well. And it does provide an opportunity to leverage our TRT to it allows us to leverage our TRT with funds from the community as well. So not only does it support events that we have, but it also supports tourism in general right now. So.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All in favor? And that passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, have a good evening, Rick.
Two.
16 is our Grand County Sheriff's Office position backfill requests with our Personnel Director, Tess Carter.
All right, thank you, everyone. So for this request, I am essentially addressing two birds with one item. So we have a patrol deputy position that will be coming open next week. And we are requesting the backfill of that position to stave off short staffing and the necessity of having our other officers either working overtime or them being short staffed while on shift. With that, for the patrol deputy position, part of our policy is that we can have an internal roster, meaning that if a comparable position comes open within a certain period of time, we can look to that roster of former candidates for a similar position and look at offering that position. There is an internal candidate, and that candidate works within a different section of the sheriff's office. And so we wanted to proactively also request the backfill of a dispatcher position, because if they were moved into the patrol deputy position, then I would subsequently be coming back to you all in approximately 2 weeks to request the backfill of that dispatcher position, the needs of which are the same to the patrol deputy position.
Any questions, comments, motions? Mary?
I move to approve the backfill of the Grant County Sheriff Office Patrol Deputy and Dispatcher position effective immediately.
Second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And we have one abstention, because that passes 4, 1 abstention and 2 absent.
Barely.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Ted.
I was like, I was stuck here.
I was wondering why you looked at me all weird.
I was like, why'd you do this to me?
Don't.
It's
You're
okay.
good. Okay.
Thank you, Tess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's the end of our meeting, unless anybody wants to, let's see where we are at. General commission reports and future considerations. Does anyone have anything in their commission reports that they'd like to talk about? Go ahead.
Grand County Fair's coming up. Shameless plug. Me and Andrew will be talking here. Don't worry, in a day or two, you'll see a couple things coming out the paper. But again, this is the largest local event we have for our county. This is for locals. It's free. Come out, have a good time. There's a car show, volleyball tournament, softball tournament, little rodeo. I wish Angie was here to present this or to show off, but tell your friends, family, etc. This is a great time, and over several days, a lot of activities. You'll see me out there hurting myself in volleyball this year and the car show. So, but love to see y'all there. Board out.
All right, and then I could just say some stuff. We've been fast and furious on the Arches shuttle subcommittee. We've had multiple meetings about this, and we're moving along with the cooperative management agreement between the National Park Service and Grand County for the management of this pilot visitor transit system. And we hope to have RFPs coming out very soon, and that those are being approved by our attorneys on both sides, and we'll look forward to that. And then hoping to have, as far as our timeline goes, hoping to have the RFP recommendation by our July 7th commission meeting and approving that. So if we can make that happen, we will all have a Merry Christmas. Well,
Merry Christmas.
we'll have a selection on by that July 7th, and they will be able to start going to work and get procuring all of their vans and buses and get ready to rock and roll for the shuttle in September.
Okay.
That's the only update I have. That's been our busiest project right now.
Thanks for the update.
And I already mentioned the one that I've got, and I'll follow up with UAC on our workshop.
Workshop next week. Or I think,
If possible.
I think we had somebody online that wanted to be on this week. Did they
bounced.
leave? Okay. All right. They left, so I'm gonna let them have 5 minutes. What about you, Everett? You're good? Okay.